Chapter 578. In the past few days, Xiao Han's spiritual fluctuation had always enveloped the Wuxia region. He was always hoping that the immortals who had descended to this plane would bring him immortal pills and magic treasures. Xiao Han had tasted the sweetness of successfully forging an immortal body with the help of a starry sky earth attribute magic treasure. This had also greatly increased his expectations. However, after waiting for several days, no immortals had come to the Wuxia region. This inevitably made Xiao Han feel a little helpless. But today, a total of 7 immortals have entered the Wuxia region. Xiao Han looked excited. Get ready to welcome them. Jiao Lanzi also noticed it immediately. At the same time, whoosh, 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 7 immortals, 5 male and 2 female immortals, entered the Wuxia region almost at the same time. These 7 people also knew each other. After greeting each other, an extremely shocked expression appeared on their faces. These immortals were completely shocked by the atmosphere of the Wuxia region. Rainbow butterfly, immortal bird, immortal plant, golden soil with a strong medicinal fragrance, immortal aura, a strange phenomenon in the sky. The scene of the immortal world? Unbelievable. The Wuxia region in the mortal world actually showed the scene of the immortal world. Just now, when I suddenly entered this place, I actually had some illusion that I had returned to the immortal world. A white-clothed young man's face was filled with traces of laziness, but now his eyes were protruding, making him look very funny. You Yangzi don't always have such an exaggerated expression, okay? A girl in colorful clothes with a noble temperament covered her mouth and smiled. Then she said to a young man in green clothes beside her, "My living immortal, senior brother, what do you think of this place?" "That's right, big brother Su Huizi, after you descended to this mortal world, you prescribed medicine for mortals in the western border of this plane. You're at the border of the western region of this plane, prescribing medicine for mortals. You've really accumulated virtue and done good deeds. Your merits are immeasurable." Yu Yangzi complimented. "Heh, I'm just doing some things that I should do," the young man in green clothes said humbly. Then he slightly frowned. What a strange person. I didn't expect that Xiao Han would actually make the Wuxia region in the mortal world so prosperous. It already has the glory of the immortal world. Good. I should take this opportunity to pay a visit to Xiao Han. I believe he is a refined man. The scene here doesn't seem like something that Xiao Han could create. This is clearly an environment created by the purest immortal qi. An old and wise young man with white eyebrows and black hair carried a long sword on his back. The sword energy around him was ethereal and ethereal. He smiled. Xiao Han and brother Jialan are together. In my opinion, it must be brother Jialan who used his supreme immortal power to destroy the demon hero domain. He created the atmosphere of an immortal. TSK, brother Jialan is worthy of being the leader of our generation of young immortals. Also, look, the immortal chi here is wrapped up by an invisible force not leaking at all. This must be brother Jialan's trick. Ah. Back then when I was with brother Jialan, we drank for 7 days and 7 nights, falling drunk in the immortality peach pool. It has been 10 years since we parted. I did not expect that I would be able to meet brother Jialan today. Reuniting in this mortal realm, I must drink with brother Jialan for 10 days to half a month. Ah. Count me in as well. One of them had fair skin, but between his eyebrows, there was a faint smile on his face. A valiant female immortal said with a smile. This time, everyone must be here to exchange for a spot to enter the 2nd level of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure, right? According to brother Jialan's message, as long as we follow the rules in the mortal realm and do not commit crimes, then we will all be able to get a spot. However, the spots are limited. It is also very good to be able to get a spot first and not have to queue up. Therefore I am not sparing any capital. The green-clothed youth said seriously. Big brother Su Huizi, what treasure are you preparing to give Xiao Han? Is it an immortal pill or a magic treasure? Yu Lang was very curious. Well, this is a secret for now. Yu Lang, you will naturally know later. In short, it will definitely satisfy Xiao Han. Yu Lang, what gift did you prepare for Xiao Han? The green-clothed youth, Su Huizi, asked with a smile. It is just a small bottle of thunder attribute immortal pills. I obtained it when I went out to train in the immortal realm. There are about 100 pills. Yu Lang took out a jade bottle. Anyway, I do not cultivate thunder attribute immortal techniques. Therefore, I will give it to Xiao Han in exchange for a spot first. It is also a profit for me. Then let's go and meet brother Jialan and Xiao Han. Let's go. Yaoxia Pagoda. In the largest and most comfortable lounge. 7 immortals, Xiaohan, Jialanzi and Taotai officially met. Ah. Brother Jialan, hello. Taotai, I did not expect you to be here. You are Xiaohan, right? You are indeed young and promising. Ah. Immortals, I am Xiaohan. Welcome to our human realm, Xiaohan said politely. After looking at their faces, Xiaohan found that the 7 immortals before him were all kind and friendly. Between their brows, there was a first-class temperament. Compared to the divine sword prince's sinister and cruel face, it was like heaven and earth. Indeed, there are good and bad immortals. Xiaohan sighed repeatedly. At this time, Xiaohan was playing the role of a host and treated these immortals with great hospitality. However, Xiaohan used the spirit turtle True Qi to envelop his life aura, so these immortals did not discover anything mysterious about him. The secret of the immortal body was kept to himself. Moreover, Jialanzi and Taotai would not reveal it. The gathering of Xiaohan and the immortals made the entire Wuxia region feel honored. Outside the Wuxia pagoda, there were auspicious clouds and spirit birds flying in for a pilgrimage. The elders in the Wuxia pagoda and many Wuxia warriors were shocked and proud. They did not expect that the leader of their plane, Xiaohan, would attract so many extraordinary immortals to the Wuxia domain. They did not hesitate to condescend and come to the Wuxia domain. Brother Jialan, I have missed you since we parted that day. The young man with white eyebrows and black hair looked at Jialanzi with a smile. Then he looked at Xiaohan. Brother Xiao is the #1 genius among the mortals of the countless ordinary realms in this universe. Now that I have met you today, you are indeed extraordinary. Ha! Black and white, you really know how to flatter people, Taotai teased. How can you see that Brother Xiaohan is extraordinary? Ah! Brother Taotai, don't tease me, Black and White said with a serious face. Although this is the first time we have met, Brother Xiao gives me an unfathomable feeling. I can't see through Brother Xiao. Ah! Black and White, you have good eyes. Jialanzi laughed. By the way, Brother Jialan, I heard that Son of Heaven has also come to this realm. Moreover, this guy seems to have gathered a large group of black sheep. It is obvious that he wants to fight against you, Brother Jialan? Black and White said with a serious face. Brother Jialan, you and Son of Heaven were enemies in the immortal world. However, due to the immortal rules, your battle was not very fierce, but it was still turbulent. Now that you have arrived in the mortal world, you are no longer under control. With Son of Heaven's unscrupulous and vengeful nature, I am afraid. In short, Brother Jialan, you have to be more careful. If you need my help, let me know. It's fine, Jialanzi said lightly. Brother Jialan, who is this Son of Heaven? Hearing this, Xiaohan could not help but ask curiously. Just an old friend. Jialanzi smiled slightly, then looked at the 7 immortals. Everyone, the purpose of you coming to find Xiaohan is to obtain a spot to enter Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Before this, I have already spread the news that in order to obtain a spot, you must pay a price. Brother Jialan, we naturally know. Since we are already here, we all came prepared. The green-robed Su Huizi also looked at Xiaohan curiously. Brother Xiao, you are now immortal. What do you need immortal pills and magic treasures for? Immortal pills, I am afraid Brother Xiao cannot perfectly absorb the medicinal power within them. As for magic treasures, although Brother Xiao can drip a drop of blood and refine them for your own use, you cannot perfectly unleash the power of the magic treasures. Su Huizi, you don't have to worry about this. Jialanzi smiled. In short, if everyone can take out immortal pills and treasures that satisfy Xiaohan, Xiaohan will naturally give you a spot. After a pause, Jialanzi turned to look at Xiaohan. Brother Xiao, Black and White, Yu Yangzi, Su Huizi, and the others are good people in the immortal world. They have never bullied the weak. After they came to the mortal plane, they have always followed the rules and even performed many good deeds. For example, Su Huizi is at the border of the western region, treating the suffering people. As long as they can take out immortal pills and magic treasures that satisfy you, then there is no problem giving them a spot. They should all get a spot to enter the 2nd level of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Alright, in that case I naturally have no objections. Xiaohan nodded. Then he spoke humbly to the immortals. I have offended everyone. I am not a greedy person, but I am in urgent need of immortal pills and magic treasures to increase my ability to protect myself. Everyone please rest assured. Today I will owe you all a favor. When I enter the 2nd level of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure, I will definitely repay all of you if I have any gains. Brother Xiao, there is no need for that. The Black and White smiled at Xiaohan. I can see that Brother Xiao's eyes are clear, and you are definitely not a greedy person. Moreover, Brother Xiao and I hit it off at first sight. Here, this is a bottle of Universe Earth Attribute Sacred Medicine. A small greeting gift. I hope it will be beneficial to Brother Zhao's cultivation. Soon, the other immortals also took out the treasures that they were about to give to Xiao Han. Xiao Han accepted them one by one. In the end, Xiao Han obtained 5 bottles of Universe Earth Attribute Immortal Pills. 1 bottle of Thunder Attribute Immortal Pill. Among them, the most precious was a Thunder Attribute Supreme Grade Immortal Pill that the valiant female immortal gave Xiao Han. This Thunder Attribute Supreme Grade Immortal Pill was a divine pill from the primordial era. It contained a vast world of thunder and lightning. Countless divine lightning bolts shuttled through it. Dragons and snakes writhed in it and lightning struck. It was extraordinary. This Thunder Attribute Supreme Grade Immortal Pill contains extremely domineering medicinal power. I wonder how many Thunder God body tempering pills it contains. Xiao Han licked his lips. If I absorb and refine it, I should be able to perfectly create the Thunder God Tyrant body. Chapter 579. From the 7 immortals, Xiao Han obtained 5 bottles of Starry Sky Earth Attribute Immortal Pills, 1 bottle of Thunder Attribute Immortal Pill, and 1 Thunder Attribute Supreme Grade Sacred Medicine. It was quite a bountiful harvest. Although he did not obtain Earth and Thunder Attribute Immortal Treasures, the quality of the Thunder Divine Pill from the primordial era was not inferior to the Earth God's demon-subduing pearl that Xiao Han refined. This made Xiao Han extremely satisfied. As for immortal pills and Dharma treasures with mental energy attribute, they were extremely rare and precious in the immortal world. According to Jiao Lanzi's description, the many immortals that descended to the lower realm this time, not only the immortals that came to Xiao Han's plane, but even the immortals that came to other planes would not have mental energy attribute treasures. According to Jiao Lanzi's words, Brother Xiao, I know that your mental energy is unparalleled and comparable to an ordinary perfected immortal. However, it is extremely difficult for you to obtain a mental energy attribute treasure to increase your mental energy realm. Because in the immortal world, mental energy attribute treasures can only be possessed by immortal emperors. If an ordinary perfected immortal holds a mental energy attribute treasure, it will instead become a crime and may bring about a fatal disaster. However, in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, there must be a mental energy attribute treasure that you want. Forget it. I am already lucky to be able to obtain these immortal pills. Xiao Han was also extremely satisfied. After he put away the treasures, he distributed the spots to enter the 2nd floor of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure to the 7 immortals. Jiao Lanzi took out a jade book and a jade brush and carefully recorded it. The 7 immortals also heaved a long sigh of relief. Brother Jiao Lanzi, Brother Tao Tai, I'll have to trouble the 2 of you to properly receive the guests. I will immediately enter seclusion to cultivate. After obtaining a treasure that could refine an immortal body, Xiao Han was naturally anxious and wanted to enter seclusion immediately. No problem. Brother Xiao, go ahead. Jiao Lanzi smiled and paused for a moment. After Brother Xiao comes out, I'm afraid you will shock me again? Go. After Xiao Han left in a hurry, Black and White Zi, Yu Yangzi, and the other immortals asked Jiao Lanzi in confusion. Only then did he ask Jiao Lanzi in confusion. Brother Jialan, could it be that Brother Xiao is really going to consume those immortal pills that we gave him? This is truly inconceivable. Although Brother Zhao's qi and blood are vigorous and his physical body is unparalleled in the mortal world, consuming a large amount of immortal pills is no different from digging his own grave. This is especially so for that nameless ancient thunder god medicinal pill that little sister gave Brother Xiao. Its quality is so high that even little sister consumes it. He also immediately exploded and died due to his immortal body. The valiant female celestial said worriedly, "Isn't Brother Xiao being too rash? I hope he doesn't make a mistake. What is there to be afraid of? With Brother Jialan here to protect us, even if Brother Xiao mistakenly consumed the medicinal pill, he would not be able to escape. Nothing will go wrong." Su Huizi said. "Both of you underestimate Brother Xiao too much. Since all of you are here, then, both of you shall witness this rare miracle together." Jiao Lanzi and Tao Tai looked at each other and smiled. Inside Xiao Han's spiritual secret chamber, countless immortal pills floated around Xiao Han. Starry Sky Earth Attribute Immortal Pills, Thunder Attribute Immortal Pills. The violent, supreme, and invincible medicinal power was like a giant dragon. It lingered around Xiao Han endlessly. Xiao Han loosened his spirit turtle true chi and unleashed his level 2 Starry Sky Dominator body that contained the heavenly Tao, a powerful immortal body. It suppressed the medicinal efficacy of those immortal pills. It was as if a monarch had descended and his power overturned the court. Everyone was stunned. Xiao, 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 Xiao Han first absorbed a large number of starry sky earth attribute immortal pills. He absorbed all of them. With Xiao Han's level 2 starry sky dominator body, absorbing these immortal pills was as easy as flipping his palm. Like a whale swallowing seawater, the medicinal efficacy swept into his body and was refined. In just a few hours, Xiao Han had completely refined all the starry sky earth attribute immortal pills. His level 2 starry sky dominator body had reached its peak. Although I haven't broken through to level 3 starry sky dominator body, my punch now has the strength of 20 immortal dragons. I've reached the peak of level 2 immortal body. However, I have a special immortal body that can withstand an attack with the strength of 40 immortal dragons. Alright. Let's start creating the Thunder God body. Dual attribute immortal body. Once I succeed, I will be able to tear apart the Divine Sword Prince's immortal body. Primordial Thunder's sacred medicine? Xiao Han's mind power swept out like a starry sky storm and enveloped the extremely precious Primordial Thunder's sacred medicine. The medicinal efficacy is indeed strong and domineering. This sacred medicine contains a huge world of thunder from the immortal realm. It's as deep as the sea and boundless. My mind power is like a lone boat floating in the middle of a vast ocean. If I'm not careful, the boat will capsize and I'll die. As long as I obtain the power of thunder in this divine pill, I won't have to fear any immortal who descends. Let's begin. Xiao Han's eyes flashed with unwavering determination. All of a sudden, Xiao Han released all the lightning attribute genes in his body. Seduce, the thunder attribute gene in the Primordial Thunder's sacred medicine. Puff, 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 puff. Immediately, the stable Primordial Thunder's sacred medicine began to emit terrifying sounds of thunder exploding from within. It was as if the order of the pill had been destroyed. It was about to fall apart. The sound of a star disintegrating came from within the pill. Xiao Han didn't dare to suddenly break down this primordial lightning sacred medicine. He was like a butcher dissecting an ox, slowly dissecting this divine pill inch by inch, just like how a butcher dissects an ox. Xiao Han's mental strength was too strong, allowing him to dismember the Thunder God's elixir, which was powerful enough to blow up an entire plane at will. Finally, Puchi. A small piece of the pill fell off. Furthermore, this small piece of pill that had been peeled off was currently opening and closing, about to explode from within. You want to explode? Not so easy. Xiao Han was already prepared. Xiao, 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 thousands of strands of natal saber chi slashed out. At the critical moment, this small piece of pill was disintegrated into tens of thousands of thunder and lightning particles. Then, devour. His mind power wrapped around it. Xiao Han guided these thunder and lightning particles into his body. In this way, a large amount of thunder and lightning power, a huge amount of medicinal power, melted into Xiao Han's bones, blood vessels and internal organs. It tempered every inch of Xiao Han's skin, every meridian and every bone. Among them, Xiao Han's bones were especially refined. From a crystal clear color, it turned into a green color, the color of lightning, and it emitted an extremely dazzling light. So dazzling that it blinded one's eyes. On every bone, some complicated Thunder God inscriptions were carved, promoting the achievements of the Primordial Thunder God, and singing songs praising the Thunder God. Xiao Han's bones were gradually turning into Primordial Thunder bones. This caused every bone in Xiao Han's body to emit a strong tearing, destructive and invulnerable force. Unbreakable, indestructible. Xiao Han's power was strengthened. Now Xiao Han understood that a casual punch from him would burst forth with a layer of destructive lightning. His fist would emit a layer of destructive lightning. Once it hit its target, the lightning would penetrate the target's body and destroy the internal structure of the enemy's body. The Thunder God Tyrant body is strong in offense but weak in defense. Its offensive power is probably stronger than many other special immortal bodies. It's a notch stronger. However, its defense is weak. But I have the Starry Sky Dominator body. One attack and one defense complement each other. Then Xiao Han peeled off another piece from the Primordial Thunder God pill. Absorb. Refine. Create the Thunder God Tyrant body. In the lounge of the Yaoxiao Pagoda, many immortals, led by Jiao Lanzi and Tao Tai, were holding their breaths and watching Xiao Han's cultivation. They had been watching for several days. It seems that Brother Xiao has succeeded again this time. Jiao Lanzi said in a low voice. He succeeded again. Jiao Lanzi said in a low voice. Too amazing. I Jiao Lanzi am completely convinced. Hearing Zhao Lanzi's words, these immortals gasped. Zhao Lanzi was a genius in the immortal world. He was the focus of the biggest sects in the immortal world. In the immortal world, he was a leader among the younger generation and had the potential to become an immortal emperor in the future. In the immortal world, he was a leader among the younger generation and had the potential to become an immortal emperor in the future. Such a person actually said that he admired a mortal. This was simply sensational. However, thinking about it carefully, it was no wonder that Zhao Lanzi admired Xiao Han. These immortals already knew that Xiao Han was refining the primordial thunder god pill. Judging from the energy fluctuations coming from the secret cultivation room, Xiao Han had already controlled the pill's ferocious medicinal properties and was now refining and absorbing them. Decompose? I think I understand a little. The valiant female immortal suddenly nodded. Brother Xiao didn't directly swallow the primordial thunder god pill. He used the method of a butcher dismembering an ox. He first decomposed the divine medicine and then refined it bit by bit. His wisdom is indeed greater than the heavens. It's both wisdom and courage. The black and white man pondered. The primordial thunder god pill is the most explosive. To decompose it, one must have extraordinary means. Otherwise, once it is decomposed, it will explode. Brother Xiao did very well on this point. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing what Brother Xiao will look like after he comes out of seclusion. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I really didn't think that there would be such an extraordinary existence among mortals. Xiao Han had been in seclusion for a full 10 days. In these 10 days, Xiao Han had been absorbing the supreme medicinal power and refining the thunder god tyrant body at every moment. In the beginning, Xiao Han's entire body flashed with electric arcs. Every pore on his body emitted a deafening roar, like the terrible roar of a wild beast. But later on, the electric sparks that shot out from Xiao Han's pores were finally absorbed into the depths of Xiao Han's body. His entire body was smooth and glossy, but it didn't seem too tough and domineering. It had reached a level of returning to the natural state. Even the traces of immortal qi on Xiao Han's body were faintly discernible. Finally, all the divine medicines have been completely refined. I, Xiao Han, have finally forged the thunder god tyrant body. This is a real immortal body. Now, I also have a special dual attribute immortal body. Xiao Han suddenly stood up. The entire spiritual secret cultivation room showed an artistic conception of the sunny sky, the singing of birds and the fragrance of flowers. At this moment, every pore cell of Xiao Han had evolved into a world of thunder. If someone used their spiritual power to penetrate into the cells of Xiao Han's pores, they would find that every pore cell of Xiao Han's was a vast sea of thunder. It was extremely frightening. Chapter 580. Rumble. Rumble. At this moment, as Xiao Han moved his muscles and bones, terrifying rumbling sounds could be heard from within his body. It was as if thousands of wild beasts were roaring inside of him, or as if all the lightning in the world was exploding inside of him. Thunder God Tyrant Physique, I have finally created this immortal physique. Xiao Han was feeling a little proud of himself. Coupled with this starry sky dominator I created earlier, this is a true dual elemental immortal body. It's no longer an embryonic dual elemental immortal body. This way, if those beauties and young prodigies from the immortal world want to bully me or cause trouble in the mortal world, I, Xiao Han, have a certain foundation to stop them. The quota to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure is completely up to me, Xiao Han. After refining and forging the immortal body, Xiao Han's every thought seemed to be filled with confidence. It had completely formed a domineering aura. Especially after creating the mighty body of the Thunder God. This kind of ferocious, domineering aura that could destroy everything was overflowing with words. It could be said that Xiao Han's mind had completely transformed. The mortal heart had transformed into the immortal heart. Seriously speaking, with the quality of Xiao Han's current body, he was already an immortal, dual elemental immortal body. However, the way he became an immortal was not the traditional way of cultivating true qi, opening the heavenly eye, and welcoming the heavenly tribulation. Moreover, Xiao Han also deliberately controlled his body so that it would not pierce through the spatial barrier between the mortal world and the immortal world. Right now, Xiao Han would not forcefully ascend. He needed to train in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure and increase his battle strength again so that he would not be oppressed or bullied in the immortal world. Only after settling everything in the mortal world would Xiao Han ascend to the immortal world. Ascension is still too far away. I won't think about it for now. Xiao Han smiled. He used the spirit turtle true qi to seal off the aura of the immortal body and everything. Then he slowly walked out of the secret mental room. In the resting room where the 7 immortals were invited. At this moment Heiheizi, Yu Yangzi, and Su Huizi were all staring at Xiao Han in shock. Xiao Han's entire body looked ordinary and extremely reserved. At first glance there was nothing out of the ordinary. However, if these immortals carefully used their immortal senses to penetrate Xiao Han's body, they would discover that something was amiss. There was something unfathomable about Xiao Han, something that even they could not see through. Combined with all the strange phenomena that had occurred while Xiao Han was in seclusion, the 7 immortals were completely stunned. They stared at Xiao Han in a daze, their throats gurgling. They choked and could not speak. A thought suddenly appeared in their minds. Could it be that Xiao Han really refined and absorbed all the immortal pills and saint medicines? In comparison, Jialanzi and Taomei were slightly better off. After all, the 2 immortals had witnessed the miracle of Xiao Han refining the earth attribute deity artifact and Dharma treasure. Although his heart was filled with shock, he was still able to endure it. Brother Xiao, succeeded again this time? Jialanzi could not help but lick his lips and ask Xiao Han. Even that ancient thunder attribute divine medicine, consumed and refined it to his heart's content? Yes. Xiao Han nodded slightly. Hiss. Jialanzi and Taomei looked at each other and sucked in a breath of cold air. The valiant female immortal who gave Xiao Han the primordial lightning attribute divine herb blurted out in shock and horror. He actually consumed that ancient thunder attribute divine medicine and refined it perfectly. That is really a rare miracle. With my level 2 true immortal realm, it is absolutely impossible for me to enjoy that ancient divine medicine. If I forcefully consumed it, it would be as if my entire body was struck by lightning. My immortal body would be reduced to ashes and I would die for sure. But Brother Xiao could safely consume it? This way, there is no doubt that you will condense a thunder attribute immortal body. Her face was full of horror as she raised her eyes and stared at Xiao Han. At this time Jialanzi rushed to ask. Brother Xiao, you have a dual attribute immortal body? You really have a dual attribute immortal body? Fortunately, I did not fail to live up to Brother Jialanzi's expectations. Xiao Han smiled indifferently. After pausing for a moment, Xiao Han continued. However, at this moment I still do not know much about this dual attribute immortal body. I hope Brother Jialanzi can tell me. Good. Very good. Although I have befriended a few immortals with dual attribute immortal bodies when I was in the immortal world, out of courtesy, I have never seriously appraised their immortal bodies. Moreover, Brother Xiao is a mortal who condensed a dual attribute immortal body in the mortal world. This is the only one in the heavens and earth. I have the honor to see it and feel deeply honored. Now, even if Brother Xiao doesn't say it, I still want to carefully appraise it. As he spoke, Jialanzi carefully and with full concentration. Without any distractions, he slowly penetrated his immortal sense into Xiao Han's immortal body and carefully appraised it. An hour later. Phew! Jialanzi took a deep breath. There was an unconcealable horror in his expression. This, Brother Jialanzi, how is little brother's immortal body? Xiao Han was very curious. Not only Xiao Han, but even Taomei Zi and the other 7 immortals also had a look of curiosity. After all, among these immortals, Jialanzi's talent and immortal force were the most vigorous. He stood out from the crowd. Therefore, only Jialanzi could see through Xiao Han's immortal body without any distractions. The other immortals also tried to use their immortal sense to penetrate Xiao Han's body. However, the more they looked, the more they felt that Xiao Han's body was unfathomable. Including Xiao Han, everyone was waiting for the result of Jialanzi's appraisal. It's too magical. This immortal body is unparalleled in the heavenly Son of Heaven. Once you reach the immortal world, Brother Xiao will definitely become the target that all the major sects in the immortal world will fight to win over. Jialanzi's lips were dry and slightly trembling. Brother Xiao, I'm not exaggerating. With Brother Xiao's current talent, when you ascend to the immortal world, there will definitely be no problem for you to enter any immortal world sect. Ordinary people in the immortal world can only bitterly beg to enter the various immortal world sections. They pray for blessings, afraid of being rejected, and even kneel in front of the mountain gate. But Brother Xiao is definitely different. It will definitely be the elders of the various immortal world sects who will condescend, bow their heads and beg. Invite Brother Xiao to join the sect. Moreover, after entering the sect, Brother Xiao will definitely be able to obtain the best resources and become the focus of the sect. Brother Jialanzi must be joking. After listening, Xiao Han shook his head and laughed. Brother Xiao Jialanzi has always been meticulous with his words. He never lies and he is definitely not a hypocrite. What he said must be the truth. It must be the truth. The black and white man said with a serious expression. Brother Xiao, I admire you. Admire you. Moreover, Jialanzi's foresight was unique. He had his eyes on the right person. He can't be wrong. The moment he said this, all the immortals nodded their heads, their expressions were very serious. Sweat. I'm indebted to everyone's praise. Xiaohan was surprised and happy. Brother Jialanzi, what level of immortal physique is this little brother's current immortal physique? After refining the Earth Attribute Magic Treasure, Earth God Demon Subduing Pearl, Xiaohan condensed a level 2 immortal physique. Now, with a special dual attribute immortal physique, Xiaohan guessed that the level of his immortal physique would most likely be superimposed. It might even reach the level of a level 3 immortal physique or a level 4 immortal physique. According to the immortal physique's level, Brother Xiao, you are still only a level 2 immortal physique. Jialanzi said seriously. Oh? Still only a level 2 immortal physique? Xiaohan was slightly puzzled. This. Brother Jialanzi, before this I had already created a level 2 immortal physique. Brother Xiao, don't be anxious. Slowly listen to this, brother. Jialanzi said seriously. Whether it is a dual attribute immortal physique or a 3 attribute immortal physique, or even a 4 or 5 attribute immortal physique, any multi-attribute immortal physique will not superimpose. However, Jialanzi said with a smile. Brother Xiao, you are now a level 2 Star Dominator physique and a level 2 Thunder God Tyrant physique. When superimposed together, it will be a level 2 Special Dual Attribute Immortal physique. If Brother Xiao wants to create a level 3 Immortal physique, you will need to reach level 3 with both the Thunder God Tyrant physique and the Star Dominator physique. Of course, a level 2 Special Dual Attribute Immortal physique will naturally be many times stronger than an ordinary level 2 Immortal physique. First of all, a level 2 Star Dominator physique will only have the pure strength of 20 immortal dragons at its peak. However, its defense is equivalent to a level 4 immortal physique, and it can withstand the pure strength of 40 immortal dragons. Now that Brother Xiao has created a level 2 Thunder God Tyrant physique, its defense is equivalent to an ordinary level 2 immortal physique, and its attack is equivalent to the power of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique. However, the attack and defense of 2 immortal physiques cannot be superimposed together. For a dual attribute immortal physique, both attack and defense are taken from the extreme of each immortal physique. In other words, although Brother Xiao's physique cannot be superimposed with the Star Dominator physique and the Thunder God Tyrant physique, he can take the advantages of both and combine them. Simply put, Brother Xiao's current level 2 dual attribute immortal physique is based on the Thunder God Tyrant physique for strength, and the Star Dominator physique for defense. I understand now. Xiaohan's spirit was lifted. In other words, the maximum attack of my immortal physique can reach the extreme of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique, which is the attack of 40 immortal dragons. As for my defense, it can also reach the extreme of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique, and it can withstand the pure strength of 40 immortal dragons. Indeed. Jialanzi nodded solemnly. Both attack and defense are taken from the advantages of 2 special immortal physiques, and both are 40 immortal dragons. This immortal physique is terrifying. A level 2 special immortal physique has both attack and defense at the extreme of an ordinary level 4 immortal physique. In this way, not only is Brother Xiao invincible among mortals, but he can also fight against immortals like us who have descended. Before descending, I never thought that the so-called number 1 genius among mortals, Brother Xiao, could be so monstrous. Tao Tai and the other 7 immortals were now full of praise for Xiaohan's achievements. Every word they uttered was filled with incredulity and surprise. As for Xiaohan, he was also very satisfied. He could clearly feel the respect that Jialanzi and the other immortals had for him. So much so that these geniuses who had descended from the immortal world had a kind of admiration for him. Yes, admiration. Because Xiaohan knew that what he had accomplished was something that even these immortals could not achieve. At this point, Xiaohan's previous fear, and all kinds of helplessness towards the immortals who had descended from the immortal world had all disappeared. What replaced it was a kind of equality. A kind of unafraid of competition. Boom! A shackle on Xiaohan's heart suddenly exploded. Xiaohan raised his head slightly and only felt that above his head, there was a blue sea and blue sky. The sea and the sky were vast and he could soar freely. Chapter 581. However, even though Xiao Han had broken the shackles of his heart and no longer thought that immortals were unreachable and insurmountable, he did not reveal the slightest bit of arrogance. Instead, he retained a bit of humility. Watermark advertisement test Xiao Han's face did not show any arrogance as he spoke humbly. Brother Jialan, I was lucky enough to cultivate a dual attribute immortal physique, but I dare not act recklessly. Moreover, I understand that every advancement of a dual attribute immortal physique is extremely difficult. It is much more difficult than an ordinary immortal physique. After all, every advancement of a dual attribute immortal physique requires 2 immortal physiques to upgrade at the same time. But it's still fine. For example, a triple attribute, 4 attribute, or even a 5 attribute immortal physique would be extremely troublesome to advance by 1 level. Hearing Xiao Han's mockery, the immortals also laughed. Moreover, Jialan Zi and the other immortals saw Xiao Han's calm and unruffled expression after achieving such a proud achievement. They all respected Xiao Han even more. Moreover, they deeply felt that with Xiao Han's temperament, he would become an extremely terrifying figure in the future. Brother Xiao, you're right. It's true that every advancement of a triple attribute immortal physique requires 3 physiques to upgrade at the same time. A 4 attribute immortal physique is even more exaggerated, requiring 4 physiques to upgrade at the same time. However, for these multi-attribute physiques, every advancement of a level is extremely terrifying. It's definitely incomparable to an ordinary immortal physique. Jialan Zi looked at Xiao Han seriously. Brother Xiao, if your dual attribute immortal physique really matures in the future, your future will be limitless. Xiao Han smiled. An immortal physique is just a foundation. For example, right now, my physical attack and defense have reached the peak of a level 4 ordinary immortal physique, which is 40 dragons of immortal energy. However, I have never cultivated immortal arts. Without flexible immortal energy, I can't effectively use immortal artifacts or dharma treasures. If I really fight against ordinary descended immortals, I'm afraid I can protect myself. But to kill them? It's almost impossible. Unless the descended immortals don't use superior immortal arts when facing an enemy. They don't even need to use their dharma treasures, but that's obviously impossible. Brother Xiao Han, don't belittle yourself. If you encounter us immortals, you won't be able to escape. If you encounter us descended immortals, you will definitely have no problem protecting yourself. If he could catch them off guard, he might even be able to kill some of them. Moreover, with Brother Jialan by your side, it's almost impossible for any immortals to descend and pose a threat to you, Tao Tai said as he took out a greasy chicken leg from his bosom and nibbled on it. In that case, Brother Xiao. Now, we can leave the Devil Hero domain and travel this plane again to look for scattered immortals to distribute the quota. Or perhaps you've expelled and punished those black sheep. Jia Lanzi said with a smile. Xiao Han also laughed. Very good. Very good. Brother Jialan, then let's go out again. Ah. The current Xiao Han also really wanted to go out again and travel around the plains. On one hand, it was to distribute the remaining slots. On the other hand, it was to search for immortals like the Divine Sword disciple who committed crimes and eliminated them, so that the plane and all living beings would not be harmed. Wait. The immortal Black and White suddenly said. Brother Jialan, Brother Xiao, before coming to the Devil Hero domain, we all heard some rumors. Brother Jialan, your enemy in the immortal world, that Son of Heaven, has gathered a group of immortals who have behaved badly. Son of Heaven's behavior must be to deal with Brother Jialan, or even rob Brother Xiao. Brother Jialan, although you're brave, Son of Heaven's group has a lot of people, and all of them are immoral and unscrupulous. Why don't you also gather a group of immortals and form an alliance to fight against Son of Heaven? I'm willing to follow Brother Jialan. Yes. Brother Jialan, Son of Heaven must be guarded against this person. The other immortals were also worried. Haha. Unexpectedly, Jia Lanzi laughed heartily. Thank you for your kindness, but forget about the alliance. I was ordered by my sect to descend to the mortal world to assist Brother Xiao in distributing the quota to enter the second layer of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Reward the good and punish the evil. If I form an alliance with other immortals, it will become a laughing stock. Everyone will say that I, Jia Lanzi, formed a clique for personal gain, practiced favoritism and acted unfairly. In this way, the face of my sect will be tarnished and disgraced. Fine, Brother Xiao and I will go together. Even if Son of Heaven is plotting against me, I will still resist. As he spoke, Jia Lanzi's eyebrows and eyes revealed an unparalleled domineering aura. He was hardy and fearless, truly showing the demeanor and confidence of a young talent in the immortal world. This made Xiao Han secretly admire him. Subconsciously, Xiaohan seemed to be unwilling to be inferior to Jialanzi and blurted out, "I'll go with Brother Jialan. I'm not afraid of those evil immortals." Although a mortal had condensed an immortal body, he had never been to the immortal world and had not received the cultivation of an orthodox sect in the immortal world. In terms of foundation, it was inevitable that he was somewhat lacking. However, at this moment Xiaohan's bearing was faintly comparable to Jialanzi's, which made the other immortals click their tongues in wonder. Ha! Suddenly Jialanzi laughed involuntarily. In fact, the reason why I'm so confident to bring Brother Xiao to roam the four regions and the great wilderness without fear of the Heaven Emperor's plot is not because I boast that my strength is outstanding and can crush everything. The real reason is because of Brother Xiao. Ah! Now Brother Xiao has formed a dual attribute immortal body, and both his attack and defense have reached 40 immortal dragon power. Any immortal that descends will pay a painful price if they look down on Brother Xiao. If Brother Xiao still had the body of an ordinary person, then I would not dare to be careless and bring Brother Xiao out to take risks. But now, Jialanzi looked at Xiaohan with a smile that was not a smile. Brother Xiao, you're good at disguising yourself and can almost perfectly conceal the aura of your immortal body. In this way, if Son of Heaven and the others rashly attack and want to capture Brother Xiao, they will be greatly miscalculated. Hearing Jialanzi's words, Xiaohan also laughed. Yes. Heaven's Son and the other immortals would never have expected that my little brother had condensed a real immortal body in the mortal world, and they would never have expected that my little brother's attack and defense level had reached 40 immortal dragon power. That's right, if they didn't see it with their own eyes, even if I told them in person, they would never believe it. If that so-called Son of Heaven bullies me and wants to capture me, then I, Xiaohan, will definitely teach him a lesson. As he spoke, Xiaohan could not help but lick his lips. A strange light flashed across his eyes as he thought, with my current strength, I can completely kill immortals when they are completely unprepared. What does it feel like to kill immortals? Xiaohan actually had an urge to give it a try. Jialanzi smiled and said to the other immortals. Now, everyone has obtained the quota to enter the second floor of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure in a few years. You can leave the Wuxia region and play in this plane, or you can stay in the Wuxia region. However, I hope that everyone will keep the matter of Brother Xiao condensing an immortal body a secret. Of course. Brother Jialanzi, don't worry, we will definitely keep this a secret. Moreover, no one will believe us even if we go around telling everyone that Brother Xiao has formed an immortal body. Ah! The immortals laughed. Then, Brother Jialanzi, I will return to the Pure Cloud sect and then we will set off again. Xiaohan smiled. Jialanzi naturally agreed without hesitation. Immediately, Xiaohan and Jialanzi bid farewell to the immortals and returned to the Pure Cloud sect to rest for a few days. Xiaohan was entangled with his wives and he doted on his son as well. Several days later, Xiaohan and Jialanzi rode the wind and auspicious clouds, leaving the Unity Mountain range and heading for the eastern region. In the eastern region, the number of immortals who descended was the highest. Xiaohan spread out his spiritual force to search for the dormant immortal qi in the secular world. Eastern region. Aichang Empire. The Imperial Garden of the Imperial Palace. Son of Heaven stood proudly and raised his eyes slightly to look at the clouds in the sky. The corner of his mouth outlined a sinister smile. This smile actually caused the dozens of immortals standing behind him to involuntarily shudder. Son of Heaven. Can we move now? Finally, an immortal broke the dull atmosphere and said, "We have released our immortal senses and almost covered this plane. As expected, we found something." Jialanzi and Xiaohan have already set off from the direction of the Yaoxia region and are heading towards the eastern region. The muscles at the corner of Son of Heaven's eyes slightly twitched a few times. His eyes became colder and colder. The air in all directions seemed to stiffen and freeze under his gaze. The matter of me, Son of Heaven, forming an alliance with all of you has already spread like wildfire among the circle of immortals who have descended to this plane. I think Jialanzi should also know about this matter. Now he actually dares to single-handedly bring along a mortal ant like Xiaohan to swindle people everywhere. It seems that Jialanzi does not put me, Son of Heaven, in his eyes. Good, very good. While speaking, Son of Heaven's eyes were brewing many sinister plots, extremely cruel and abnormal. That Jialanzi is really arrogant. If he is alone, even if we form an alliance, it is not impossible to defeat him, but it is almost impossible to make him stay or even kill him. But he has a mortal with him. A strange immortal with a golden horn on his forehead said fiercely. A mortal is a burden. How dare Jialanzi be arrogant with such a big burden? What an idiot. It seems that this time I, Son of Heaven, will inevitably have to fight with this arrogant guy. Son of Heaven said coldly. Everyone act according to the original plan. Lure Jialanzi away and capture Xiaohan alive. Yes. Dozens of immortals roared with murderous intent. Chapter 582. The Son of Heaven and the group of cruel immortals wanted to carry out the plan that they had been planning for a long time to deal with Jialanzi and Xiaohan. Their ultimate goal was to capture Xiaohan alive. All of you listen carefully. The Son of Heaven said with a sinister look. The plan this time is not to kill Jialanzi. The main goal is to capture that ant Xiaohan. As long as we capture Xiaohan, Jialanzi will be at our mercy. Jialanzi is arrogant and proud. This time he must want to show off his skills in immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. If we control Xiaohan, if I want Jialanzi to kneel, he will kneel. He can humiliate Jialanzi. That's right, the other immortals echoed in unison. It won't be that easy to kill Jialanzi. His immortal force is nothing, but he must have some extraordinary magic treasures on him. I do have a few magic treasures on me, but my sect is not as rich as Jialanzi's sect. The Son of Heaven said indignantly. I need to keep my magic treasures. After a few years, I will use them to obtain opportunities in the second layer of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. I will even obtain the legacy of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. The eyes of the Son of Heaven flashed with the light of ambition. Therefore, before entering the second layer of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, I don't want to compete with Jialanzi with magic treasures. I must use the smallest price to control Jialanzi. Many immortals nodded after hearing this. That made sense. Every immortal who descended had life-saving treasures bestowed upon them by their sections. These treasures couldn't be used up easily. Good steel should be used on blades. If they were used up prematurely or even exposed, it would be extremely detrimental to the grand expedition in a few years' time. Let's act according to the plan. The Son of Heaven ordered. His entire body suddenly burst out with immortal chi and turned into a palm-sized black crow that soared into the sky. Let's go. Dozens of immortals. Each of them used their divine abilities and flew high into the sky. The divine sword child shrank in a corner and did not move. However, his eyes flashed with a bloodthirsty light. Divine sword child, you've fallen in rank and are now a cripple. Hurry up and scram back to the immortal world. You absolutely cannot participate in the plan this time. Otherwise you will be directly killed by Jialanzi. Dying in the mortal world was also a matter of great shame and humiliation. Ah! An immortal whose feet were like vortexes flew into the sky. He looked down at Divine Sword Child and laughed in disdain. Master Divine Sword coldly harumphed. The resentment in his eyes intensified as he gritted his teeth. Naturally, I won't go with you. However, I won't return to the world of immortals right away either. I've already investigated Xiaohan's base. It's in the southern region's Cloud sect. A bunch of ants were Xiaohan's relatives. In fact, Xiaohan had 4 wives and a newborn son, all of whom were in the pure Cloud sect. Ah, Xiaohan. This time, I want your family destroyed. I'll immediately infiltrate the Pure Rain sect and slaughter them to the ground. The entire sect would be annihilated. I will also ravage your wives to death. Ah, your son will be killed. I'll let you, Xiaohan, feel the greatest pain in the world. Ah. After saying that, Master Divine Sword condensed all the immortal force in his body and turned into a golden sword light. He directly flew in the direction of the southern region's Cloud sect. The eastern region. In the sky. An ice hornless dragon soared in the sky. Xiaohan and Jialanzi stood on top of the dragon's head. Brother Jialanzi, I've sensed something from the fluctuation of my spirit. It seems that there are many immortals secretly watching us. Xiaohan frowned slightly. Jialanzi also nodded. Many extremely familiar immortal senses. Most of them are infamous people in the world of immortals. Son of Heaven. Are you ready to make a move? Son of Heaven. Brother Jialanzi, it seems that this fellow has gathered a large number of immortals with bad conduct and is about to make a move against us. Xiaohan's voice was completely devoid of fear. In fact, it was even a hint of eagerness. Jialanzi couldn't help but laugh when he saw his expression. Brother Xiao, I can feel that you're actually very excited. This little brother's immortal body has just been formed and I'm a little impatient. I want to find an opportunity to test my strength against the immortals. Xiaohan chuckled. Jialanzi laughed involuntarily. Brother Xiao, you'll probably get such an opportunity? Xiaohan nodded slightly. Then he urged the spirit turtle True Chi to wrap the aura of his immortal body and the demon emperor's palm tightly. After that, Xiaohan's eyes also flashed with a trace of craftiness. When Jialanzi saw it, he was also shocked and blurted out, "Brother Xiao, your disguise is indeed too perfect. I can't even see through it. It's a now, I'm starting to sweat for Son of Heaven and the others." Well said, well said. Xiaohan laughed sinisterly. Then he muttered, "While they're unprepared, I can kill a few immortals and plunder some immortal artifacts and magic treasures. This? Brother Xiao, you're wishful thinking. You actually dare to directly kill the immortals." Jialanzi was horrified. At this moment, Jialanzi's expression slightly changed. "They're coming so fast. Brother Xiao, we've already been surrounded." Xiaohan's spirit spread out. Sure enough, from all directions, waves of immortal qi surged over like a tide. Within these immortal qi fluctuations, there was a fierce and ruthless aura. There was a kind of domineering aura that swept in all directions. Among these immortal qi fluctuations, there was an extremely noble immortal qi. With a slight sweep, it could create a strong spatial storm. It had the bearing of a monarch overlooking the world. Xiaohan's heart moved. A name suddenly flashed in his mind. Son of Heaven. According to Jialanzi, among the younger generation of the immortal world, Jialanzi and Son of Heaven were almost the most outstanding group of talents. However, the two of them were also natural enemies. That noble fluctuation of immortal qi must be Emperor Tsang. It is indeed extraordinary. In terms of aura alone, he does not lose to Brother Jialanzi. If Brother Jialanzi is said to be awe-inspiring and peaceful, then this Son of Heaven is arrogant and unruly. Both of them have their own advantages. Xiaohan's mind flashed. However, Xiaohan was not afraid of this Son of Heaven now that he had a dual attribute immortal body. Boom! A glazed immortal qi barrier descended from the sky and directly enveloped a large space where Xiaohan and Jialanzi were. At the same time, dozens of immortals had already appeared in all directions. These immortals surrounded Xiaohan and Jialanzi in the center. Among them, a man who looked like a noble walked out from the crowd. Above his head there was a strange phenomenon. Countless stars and streaks of light appeared. As soon as he walked out, his immortal sense unscrupulously swept towards Xiaohan. Then he sneered at Jialanzi. "Jialanzi, I didn't expect that both of us would descend to this plane at the same time. You are Xiaohan? A little ant, relying on Jialanzi's power, actually dares to insult an immortal? Acting as an accomplice to a villain. Indeed, among the mortals you are considered a first-class expert. However, in front of us immortals, you are no different from an ant." This Son of Heaven's immortal sense swept around Xiaohan's body but did not discover the secret of Xiaohan's dual attribute immortal body. At this time, the immortals led by Son of Heaven were like wolves and tigers. They fiercely glared at Xiaohan. Their eyes revealed a hint of greed as if they could not wait to swarm up and swallow Xiaohan alive. "Son of Heaven, don't be rash." Jialanzi raised his eyelids slightly and said calmly, "This is the mortal world, not a place for us to fight." "Ha ha! Jialanzi, you hypocrite." Son of Heaven suddenly let out a mocking laugh. "Sanctimonious! Do you think I don't know what you are thinking? As soon as you descended, you controlled Xiaohan. You want to use Xiaohan to suppress us immortals who don't get along with you, right? Ah! How hypocritical." After a pause, Son of Heaven looked at Xiaohan with a pitiful gaze. "Xiaohan, you are really pitiful. Do you know that? You are just a clown being used by Jialanzi. How ridiculous. How foolish. When you have lost your value, Jialanzi will only kick you away. Poor you, you are still hell-bent on following Jialanzi's side." Hearing this, Xiaohan pretended to be frightened. He lowered his head slightly and did not say a word. Seeing Xiaohan's embarrassed appearance, Jialanzi could only sneer. Hearing Son of Heaven's filthy words, Jialanzi was not angry. He smiled indifferently. "Son of Heaven, my purpose is not up to you to judge. However, if you want to stir up trouble in this plane, you must first go through me. Jialanzi, I know that your sect has a strong foundation and must have given you a lot of magical treasures. But..." Son of Heaven's eyes were extremely sharp. "Jialanzi, enough with the idle talk. Now hand Xiaohan over to us. Otherwise this matter will not end well." "Son of Heaven, don't push your luck." Suddenly Jialanzi's body erupted with violent immortal qi. In an instant, Jialanzi's aura covered the sky and the wind and clouds changed color. The aura of Jialanzi and Son of Heaven were equally matched. When they clashed, heaven and earth shook. It was as if the crystal wall of this plane could not withstand it and was about to collapse. "Ah! Jialanzi, I know you are very strong, but if we fight now, I am afraid that our immortal chi will cause this plane to shatter. Ah! Billions of lives in this plane will die a violent death. Son of Heaven sneered. Jialanzi, haven't you always been kind and benevolent? Very well, I will give you two choices now. First, hand over Xiao Han obediently and we will avoid fighting. Second, fight directly. Fight until the sky falls and the earth shatters. Blow up this plane. Annihilate all the lives in this plane. I don't mind killing mortals like pigs and dogs, but Jialanzi, if countless mortals die because of you, I am afraid that you will also be punished when you return to the immortal world. Ah! Two choices. I will give you 10 breaths of time to consider. After 10 breaths of time, I will take out my magical treasure and break through the crystal wall of this plane to fight to the death with you. Ah! Chapter 583. Jialanzi and Heaven's Son, this pair of archenemies in the immortal world, finally confronted each other in front of Xiao Han. Heaven's Son gathered dozens of immortals and surrounded Jialanzi and Xiao Han. In terms of immortal chi, Heaven's Son and Jialanzi were almost on par. The two of them could compete with each other. Now, Heaven's Son had the advantage in numbers and there was no lack of powerful immortals to help him. Jialanzi's advantage was his foundation. The foundation of his sect. The magical treasures he carried. Trump cards. If they were to fight, Heaven's Son's side did not have absolute confidence in keeping Jialanzi here, let alone killing him. At most, they could repel Jialanzi. However, if Jialanzi did not care about the price and took out all kinds of magical treasures, the situation would be unpredictable. However, no matter what the outcome of this battle was, the aftermath of the battle would be enough to destroy this plane. The living beings of this plane would be like ants under a collapsing building. They could only accept the fate of being crushed and destroyed. Heaven's Son was extremely intelligent. In order to achieve his goal, he would use any means necessary. He saw that Jialanzi was in the secular world and did not dare to attack to his heart's content. Therefore he directly used this weakness to suppress Jialanzi. Heaven's Son, you are really despicable. If you want to fight, I can fight with you. No matter how many helpers you gather, I am not afraid. If you have the ability, let's fly out of this plane and fight in space. Jialanzi was also angry. Ha ha ha, Heaven's Son laughed loudly. The immortals in the surroundings also joined in the uproar. Idiot. If you want to fight, then fight in this secular world. Why do you have to waste your immortal chi and fight in space? You're really taking off your pants to fart. What an unnecessary move. We immortals see mortals as pigs and dogs. When immortals fight, why do we need to consider the life and death of mortals? Jialanzi, you are too hypocritical. He probably doesn't dare to fight with Heaven's Son. That's why he came up with all kinds of excuses. Enough. Jialanzi, 10 breaths of time is almost up. Do you hand over Xiao Han or do you want to fight? Make your decision. The Son of Heaven looked at Jialanzi coldly. Immortal energy surged from his body, causing heaven and earth to tremble. On the ground, many mountains and cities experienced earthquakes as people wailed in fear. Despicable. Jialanzi gnashed his teeth. Indeed, the Son of Heaven had grasped his weakness. In this mortal plane he indeed did not dare to fight. Just then, Brother Jialan, I also don't wish to make things difficult for you. Suddenly Xiao Han took a step out. He had an impassioned expression on his face as he looked at Heaven's Son with the determination to die. Son of Heaven, Xiao Han will go with you. Xiao Han paused for a moment and then his eyes flashed. He looked down at the land and said leisurely, what a pity for the state of the universe. This is my hometown. I was born here and grew up here. There are my family and friends here. How can I, Xiao Han, watch them die in front of me? Fine. Son of the Heaven, I will go with you. However, you have to promise me that you will not harm the creatures of this plane. The expression on Xiao Han's face was one of utmost righteousness and righteousness, as if he was ready to die for the cause. It was simply touching the world. However, Xiao Han also had his own plan. If I let Brother Jialan and the Son of Heaven fight, my plane will definitely be destroyed. If I let Brother Jialan and the Son of Heaven fight, my plane will definitely be destroyed. Why don't I take a risk and beat him at his own game? The Son of Heaven. He doesn't know anything about me. I have condensed a dual attribute immortal body. My physical body's offense and defense have reached 40 immortal dragon power. Any immortal who underestimates me will pay a heavy price. If they don't guard against me, then I, Xiao Han, will have the chance to kill immortals. Brother Xiao Yu. Jialanzi's expression changed. However, he did not know whether to laugh or cry. Brother Zhao's acting is really good. Dual attribute immortal body, offense and defense of 40 immortal dragon power, but it is perfectly hidden. This is no different from a ferocious tiger taking a nap in the forest. Once it pounces, it can tear apart all its prey. The Son of Heaven and the others thought that they were clever and wanted to kidnap Brother Xiao, treating Brother Xiao as a sheep. However, they never expected that the true face of this sheep was actually a ferocious and hungry tiger. In the blink of an eye, many thoughts appeared in Zhao Lanzi's mind. It's impossible to fight the Heaven Emperor. I can only beat him at his own game and let Brother Xiao follow the Heaven Emperor. With Brother Zhao's ability and adaptability, it won't be a problem for him to protect himself. Moreover, I can also protect Brother Xiao in secret. Listening to Xiao Han's impassioned speech, coupled with Xiao Han's solemn expression, the immortals led by the Son of Heaven burst into laughter. Ha ha! How tragic and stirring! How touching! Sacrificing oneself for a noble cause? Ha ha ha! In order to protect the plane, he is willing to sacrifice himself. Even this immortal is moved to tears. Wow! Idiot! Pedantic! Enough! The Son of Heaven waved his hand to stop the clamor of the immortals and smiled at Xiao Han. Alright, Xiao Han, a wise man submits to circumstances. You can come over now and follow me? Don't worry, after all, the quota to enter the second level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure is in your hands. I will not kill you for the time being. As long as you follow me obediently and be a well-behaved and loyal dog, maybe I will reward you with a few bones in the future. Hearing the insult from the Son of Heaven, Xiao Han's heart was bursting with killing intent. However, he forcefully endured it and calmly took a step forward. He tilted his head and said to Zhao Lanzi, Brother Zhao Lanzi, thank you for taking care of me during this period of time. I will go now. Brother Xiao, Zhao Lanzi sighed slightly. You have to take care of yourself. Don't worry. Brother Zhao Lanzi, we will meet again. Xiao Han cupped his fist slightly. From the corner of his eyes, he gave Zhao Lanzi a meaningful look. Zhao Lanzi nodded slightly and no longer spoke. Xiao Han slowly walked towards the Son of Heaven. Ah! Zhao Lanzi, you have lost this time. The Son of Heaven laughed sinisterly. You have completely lost. Then, the Son of Heaven glanced at Xiao Han from the corner of his eyes. Xiao Han, there is no future for you to follow a hypocrite like Zhao Lanzi. It is better for you to follow me. Ah! Finally, Xiao Han arrived beside the Son of Heaven. Two immortals immediately stood on either side of Xiao Han and locked their auras onto him, completely restraining him. Son of Heaven. Let's go. The immortal standing on the left side of Xiao Han nodded to the Son of Heaven. Let's go. The Son of Heaven also nodded. He was also a little afraid of Zhao Lanzi. He was afraid that Zhao Lanzi would suddenly attack and snatch Xiao Han. Therefore, with a single order, the group of immortals grabbed Xiao Han and immediately retreated. From the beginning to the end, Zhao Lanzi did not make any movements. After watching Xiao Han, Son of Heaven and the others leave, he let out a slight snort. Then Zhao Lanzi flipped his left hand and some light spots like fireflies appeared on his palm. Son of Heaven, don't be complacent. I have already left some marks on Brother Zhao's body. No matter where you take Brother Xiao, I will be able to control him. Once Brother Xiao is in danger, I can rescue him immediately. Son of Heaven, have you won? It is still unknown who will be the winner. Whoosh! On a huge immortal cloud, Son of Heaven stood proudly with his hands behind his back. His angular face revealed a high-spirited smile. A large group of immortals surrounded Xiao Han. They surrounded Xiao Han and all of them burst into wild laughter. Ha! Son of Heaven, I didn't expect that the plan this time would be so successful. Ah! Xiao Han was directly captured. Seeing Zhao Lanzi's helpless expression. That was so cool. Xiao Han, a mere mortal, how dare you use Zhao Lanzi's power to bully us immortals? How dare you make decisions on your own? Allocating the quota? I originally thought that in order to capture Xiao Han I would need to fight Zhao Lanzi. In the end it was a situation where no blood was shed. This time I have grasped Zhao Lanzi's weakness. Son of Heaven nodded with great satisfaction. Then he looked at Xiao Han indifferently. Xiao Han, insignificant mortal, now that you are in front of me, behave obediently and let me order you around, it will be fine. If you have any evil thoughts, I have at least 1,000 ways to make you wish you were dead. With that said, Son of Heaven grabbed with his right hand. A mass of air condensed in his palm and compressed to a high degree, forming an air bomb. The power of this air bomb could almost kill an immortal. Amazing. This Son of Heaven is really amazing. With just a few tricks, he can almost kill an immortal in an instant. Any mortal in front of him will be turned into ashes. Xiao Han secretly praised in his heart. However, the expression on his face did not change. He did not respond and only slightly lowered his head. A female immortal in black clothes giggled. She had voluptuous breasts and large buttocks. Her eyebrows and the corners of her eyes gave off an unrestrained aura. Brother son of heaven, don't scare this mortal kid silly. Look at him now, he is so scared that he doesn't even dare to speak. Ha ha ha. The group of immortals roared with laughter. Then they stared at Xiao Han aggressively. The current situation was like a sheep that had entered a wolf's den. He was coveted by a pack of wolves. They are treating me, Xiao Han, as the flesh of Tang Sanzang. Xiao Han lowered his head speechlessly. Son of the heavens, that brat Xiao Han seems to be very slippery. Even though he has fallen into our hands for the sake of safety, I hope that Son of the heavens can use some tricks to control that ant. A one-eyed celestial said to the Son of the heavens. I already have a plan. Son of heaven smiled coldly. Now I'll make some preparations. In a moment I'll cast a special celestial art on Xiao Han. This celestial art can forcibly plant an enslavement mark in Xiao Han's soul. This way this ant will never be able to resist me for the rest of his life. He can only be my slave. Even if I ask him to kill his parents, he won't even bat an eyelid. However, this immortal technique is very rare and I rarely use it. Now I will carve some immortal talismans. After saying that, Son of Heaven sat down cross-legged. All of you keep an eye on this kid. Don't let him escape. Son of Heaven, don't worry. He is just a mortal. He won't be able to run away even if we let him. Son of Heaven nodded. Then he concentrated and waved his hands continuously. In front of him, immortal chi rose in spirals and strange immortal runes were outlined one after another. Chapter 584. An immortal cloud leisurely floated in the sky of the eastern domain. Above the cloud stood a group of immortals and Xiao Han. At this moment, Heaven's Son was concentrating on drawing immortal runes. Strings of jade immortal talismans flickered between his hands. Each jade immortal talisman contained a profound immortal aura. Moreover, there was a subtle connection between each jade immortal talisman. It was as if these immortal talismans, when linked together, formed an essay of the immortal world. A complete elegiac text. The eyes of the group of immortals were filled with amazement and admiration as they watched Heaven's Son cast the technique. Big Brother Heaven's Son's elegiac text is written so naturally. Some immortals couldn't help but blurt out. Xiao Han was also quietly observing Heaven's Son's actions. Although Xiao Han couldn't understand the content of the elegiac text, he could feel that there was a kind of domineering intent in the elegiac text that could drive all things. Could it be that after this immortal text is completed, it can enslave all things? Directly enter my soul, erase myself, and make me a slave of Heaven's Son? This is similar to the extinguishing heaven and earth mental art that I cultivate. However, my extinguishing heaven and earth mental art isn't so complicated, so there's no need to write any elegiac text. Xiao Han's mind flashed. I must escape before Heaven's Son finishes writing the elegiac text. Otherwise, he does have the ability to forcibly plant an enslavement mark in my soul. Xiao Han had the thought of retreating. At this moment, although he didn't have Jiao Lanzi's backing, Xiao Han's dual attribute immortal physique was enough for him to go all out against this group of immortals. As a thought flashed through his mind, Xiao Han carefully released his spiritual wave to observe the immortals who were monitoring him. In fact, the immortals who were mainly responsible for monitoring Xiao Han were now. Their minds were not on Xiao Han. They were all watching the immortal text written by Heaven's Son with fascination. That's right, Xiao Han was just a mortal. They thought that even if Xiao Han escaped, he would never be able to escape from their palms. After all, the gap between mortals and immortals was too big. Even the difference between heaven and earth was not enough to describe it. They are indeed very disdainful of me. Xiao Han had already expected this attitude from the immortals. Xiao Han immediately began to think about how to break out of the encirclement and escape with his life. The southern region. ****** Mountain Range Pure Cloud Sect. At this time, everything in the sect was as usual. All the disciples of the sect were cultivating their true qi. Wu Yu and Yen Lang were discussing some problems related to elixirs. Xiao Mingqiu Dongfang Qin. Fang Ling and the other core members of the Pure Rain sect also cultivated on their own, not daring to slack off. With the help of the immortal pills that Xiao Han retrieved from the Genius Zone and the godly medicine that Yen Lang refined, most of the core members of the Pure Cloud sect had cultivated their Jinchi to the 10th stage. He opened his heavenly eye and achieved the half-immortal body. He was truly a Tower Master level figure in the secular world. However, all of them did not forget to cultivate and strive to improve themselves. Because in a few years they would follow Xiao Han and enter the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure trove. Looking for immortal fate. They were about to face countless immortals as well as mortal elites who'd stood out among the geniuses and obtained immortal keys. Therefore they had to cultivate, sharpen, and improve their combat power at all times. Only in this way could they have a little more capital to protect themselves. However, boom! A huge and domineering immortal chi suddenly descended. It directly enveloped the entire Pure Rain Mountain range. In an instant, the huge Pure Rain Mountain range seemed to be about to disintegrate and fall apart. It was as if a disaster had suddenly befallen the entire Pure Rain Mountain range. Pure Rain Palace. What's going on? Wu Yu suddenly stood up. He felt that his true chi was completely suppressed by a kind of supreme power. In the face of such a powerful pressure, even with Wu Yu's ability, he actually produced a feeling of complete helplessness and even despair. It was as if an ant had suddenly encountered an ancient giant beast. Two creatures of completely different levels of life suddenly met. Yen Lang, who was drinking tea and chatting with Wu Yu, was even more suppressed by this powerful force. His face turned ashen and his body trembled. He could not control himself. In this plane, apart from Xiao Han, no one among the mortals can suppress me like this. Wu Yu's eyes suddenly narrowed. It must be an immortal. An immortal has arrived at my Pure Rain Mountain range. Wu Yu immediately came to a realization. At the same time, the entire Pure Rain Mountain range was shrouded in a layer of deathly gray. The vibrant mountains seemed to have turned black and white, losing all color. It seemed like the entire mountain range would turn into ashes in the next moment. Woo 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 woo, woo 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 woo. Above the Pure Rain Mountain range, waves of shrill, ghostly wails and wolf-like howls could be heard, making one's hair stand on end. Then streaks of domineering sword chi appeared. These sword chi were densely packed, forcibly cutting cracks in the void. Vaguely, some bright red color flowed out of these cracks in the void. It looked like blood. It seemed like the sky had been cut by these sword chi, and blood was gushing out like a fountain. Even the sky was cut open and blood was flowing out. It was as if an apocalyptic disaster had appeared out of nowhere above the Pure Rain Mountain range. Blood rained from the sky, ghostly wails, doomsday arrived and the void collapsed. Sect leader Wu. Is it the demon race's attack? Is it the demon race? This atmosphere is too evil. Yen Lang was also a tower master who had opened his heavenly eye, but at this moment his heavenly eye was completely closed. Wu Yu's foundation was much stronger than Yen Lang's. At this moment, the heavenly eye between his eyebrows could still release a weak light. He said in shock. No, it's not demon aura. It's sword chi and immortal aura. However, this immortal aura is filled with resentment and hatred, as well as a monstrous evil aura. Therefore, it made us feel an aura that is even more evil than demon aura. An immortal has arrived. If I'm not wrong, Xiao Han must have offended an immortal that descended here. Master, Xiao Han is in charge of the quota to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure, and the number of immortals that descended here far exceeds the number of quotas. Therefore, Xiao Han will definitely offend some immortals. What we need to do now is not to compromise. Do not become Xiao Han's burden. Once we are threatened by an immortal, we must not yield. At a critical moment, we can kill ourselves. Suddenly, Wu Yu released the true energy that had been firmly suppressed in his body. He mobilized some of it and sent a message to the entire sect and all the disciples. Disciples of the Pure Cloud sect, listen up. Now, an evil immortal has descended. Our sect's disciples, as long as they are threatened, will never compromise. Maintain your strength of character. If necessary, do not hesitate to die. In every corner of the Pure Cloud sect, Wu Yu's resolute voice began to echo. Many panic-stricken disciples were panicking. After hearing Wu Yu's voice, they quickly calmed down. There was less panic in their eyes and more determination. At this moment, in the sky, a sword light flew over like a flying immortal. A tall, murderous figure, bathed in the sword light, flew over. Ah, sect. This is the sect of that ant Xiao Han, right? Ah. The divine sword sun's almost perverted, hysterical voice exploded above the Pure Cloud Mountain range. The hatred contained in his voice could not be washed away even with the water of 3 rivers and 5 lakes. Not bad. I didn't expect that all the mortals in this secular sect are at the true energy realm. Among them, there are many who have cultivated their true energy to the 10th level. Very prosperous. Xiao Han's wives and his son are among them, right? Good. Good. Excellent. Today this immortal, the divine sword son, announces, all the disciples of the pure cloud sect, all die. All the women will be played by this immortal, especially the wives of that bastard Xiao Han. This immortal will ravage them to death. This immortal will personally cook his only flesh and blood and feed it to the dogs. Ah, Xiao Han. This immortal will let you taste the greatest pain in the world, let you sink and die bit by bit in remorse. I will let you regret offending this immortal. Ah. Far in the sky of the eastern region, above the immortal clouds, Heaven's Son was still writing the sacrificial text of the immortal world. The densely packed and complicated immortal characters were arranged together according to a special pattern. This immortal text was about to be completed and it was at the most critical moment. Therefore, Heaven's Son was also concentrating without any distractions. As for Xiao Han, he was trying to think of a way to escape. If I use my true energy, it is almost impossible to escape under the eyes of these immortals. Using demonic techniques is tantamount to exposing my biggest secret. Since it is a matter of life and death, demonic techniques can't be used casually. It seems that I can only use my immortal body to teleport. After condensing the true immortal body, Xiao Han's body was as strong as the sun, moon, and stars. His body moved so fast that it was almost instantaneous. Moreover, if the immortal body suddenly teleported and caught off guard, these immortals might not be able to see through the secret of Xiao Han's condensed immortal body. It was very likely that they would think that Xiao Han had a magical treasure that could help him escape. After thinking about it, Xiao Han finally made up his mind. He would activate his immortal body and teleport directly. After making up his mind, Xiao Han looked around and scanned the surroundings with his psychic waves, observing the situation of the immortals. At this moment, Heaven's Son seems to have reached the final stage of writing the sacrificial text. I want to leave and he has no time to distract me. The other immortals are a little weaker and look down on me. Their monitoring of me is very sloppy. Good. At this moment I, Xiao Han, will calmly escape under the eyes of these immortals. I'll make them suffer. Xiao Han silently prepared himself and was ready to teleport away. At this moment, suddenly, on the solid mental power planet in Xiao Han's Sea of Consciousness, some of the situation of the Unity Mountain Range appeared. When Xiao Han left the Pure Cloud sect, he also left some psychic waves to guard the Unity Mountain Range at any time. Therefore, at this time, once the Unity Mountain Range encountered a crisis of life and death, Xiao Han would be able to know the situation as soon as possible. At this moment, in Xiao Han's Sea of Consciousness, the crazed and hysterical figure of the Divine Sword Prince appeared. His distorted facial features, his monstrous evil aura, and his voice was filled with curses and hatred. Not bad. I didn't expect that all the mortals in this secular sect are at the true Qi realm. Among them, there are many who have cultivated their true Qi to the 10th level. How prosperous. Oh. Xiao Han's wives and his son are among them, right? Good. Good. Very good. Today this immortal, the Divine Sword Prince, announces that all the disciples of the Pure Cloud sect are dead. All the women will be played by this immortal, especially the wives of that bastard Xiao Han. This immortal will ravage them to death. This immortal will personally cook his only flesh and blood and feed it to the dogs. Ah, Xiao Han. This immortal will make you taste the greatest pain in the world. I will make you sink and die bit by bit in regret. I will make you regret offending this immortal. Ah, damn it. I'll kill you. Suddenly Xiao Han stood up. His aura skyrocketed and he shouted angrily. Chapter 585. At this moment, Xiao Han's rage was indescribable and unimaginable. His emotions had reached the pinnacle of anger in his life. Murderous intent filled the air. He had never wanted to tear someone into pieces like this before. The words spoken by the Divine Sword Prince in the Pure Mountain Range and his roar had completely touched Xiao Han's bottom line. The Divine Sword Prince actually threatened to destroy the entire Pure Mountain Range and even wanted to rape Xiao Han's wife and cook Xiao Han's son. At this moment, regardless of whether the Divine Sword Prince was a human, an immortal, a demon, Xiao Han swore to kill him. All of a sudden, Xiao Han stood up and cursed angrily. Trash. Why are you barking here? Get lost. The immortals standing next to Xiao Han had been paying attention to Emperor Heaven's drawing the immortal runes, but they didn't take Xiao Han seriously at all. Now Xiao Han suddenly stood up and cursed angrily, causing these immortals to be both surprised and anxious. He scolded Xiao Han, "You dog. Why didn't you just stay here and wait for Big Brother Heaven's Son to finish writing the sacrificial rites to refine your soul and turn you into a slave? Why are you shouting now? Kneel down. Do your duty as a dog." Xiao Han, on the other hand, did not listen to these immortals at all. His heart had already returned to the pure mountain range. "All of you get lost." All of a sudden Xiao Han let out a roar and his entire body moved. Boom boom boom. Rumble. In less than 1,000th of a second, Xiao Han had forcibly torn open the space crystal barrier and escaped far away. Presumptuous. How dare you escape under our eyes? The moment Xiao Han escaped, several immortals finally reacted. They immediately stretched out their hands to grab Xiao Han back. Unexpectedly, Xiao Han's immortal body teleported at an extremely fast speed, causing their hands to fail to catch Xiao Han. There's actually immortal energy emitting from him. Emperor Heaven suddenly stopped writing the inscription and directly grabbed the direction where Xiao Han escaped. Hong, Emperor Heaven's grasp. The entire space seemed to have frozen, and there was even a feeling of time going backwards. Thousands of miles of air and space. They were all destroyed by Emperor Heaven's grasp. Roar. During the process of teleporting, Xiao Han suddenly felt an enormous pressure behind him. It was like a primordial beast had descended and was about to devour him, causing him to feel a chill down his spine. Xiao Han was well aware that it was the tyrannical Son of Heaven who had made his move. However, Xiao Han was eager to return. No matter who it was, they would not be able to stop him. Get lost. Xiao Han roared. Dual attribute immortal body. He pushed his energy to the limit and darted forward, barely dodging Heaven's Son's grasp. The Emperor of Heaven's grasp missed. Damn it. At this moment, the Son of Heaven's mind was in a mess and he couldn't help but curse. Suddenly, the immortal characters that he had drawn with great effort actually collapsed and were completely destroyed, turning into nothingness. One had to know that this immortal text that could enslave all living things. It had to be completed in one go without any pause in the middle. Heaven's Son of Heaven watched Xiao Han escape right under his nose. It was the same as losing a duck that was already in his grasp. Given his conceit, he couldn't help but jump up and stop writing the immortal text. Son of Heaven, he escaped. A large group of immortals murmured in an incredulous tone. How is this possible? Just now, his speed was as fast as an immortal, and there was clearly immortal chi flowing out of his body. There were traces of an immortal body being condensed. But that's not right. When we caught him just now, we used our immortal senses to scan his body. It's just a mortal body. He didn't condense an immortal body. That's not right. When we caught him just now, we used our immortal senses to scan his body. A bunch of trash. Heaven's Son of Heaven was furious. His body suddenly erupted with an invincible aura, causing many immortals standing on the immortal cloud to fly away. What immortal physique? A mortal condensed an immortal physique in the secular world? Are your heads clamped between the door planks? It must be that bastard Jialanzi who gave an escaped Dharma treasure to that little bastard Xiao Han. No wonder Jialanzi allowed us to take Xiao Han away. Chase. We must catch Xiao Han again at all costs. Damn it. This time when we catch Xiao Han, I will make him hover between life and death. The Firmament Emperor howled and led a group of immortals in the direction that Xiao Han had escaped to in an aggressive manner. Boom. Xiao Han's immortal physique had been deduced to the extreme. With the speed of teleportation he returned to his own sect, the Pure Cloud sect. Right now, Xiao Han's eyes were almost burning and his killing intent had been brewed to the extreme. Calm down. Calm down. My current speed is not inferior to the teleportation ability of an immortal. I can rush back in time. However, Xiao Han also reminded himself to restrain himself and remain calm and collected. At this moment, Jialanzi's voice suddenly reached Xiao Han's sea of consciousness. Brother Xiao, I know what happened in the Pure Cloud Mountain range. However, Brother Xiao, please don't panic. I left an immortal sense imprint in the Pure Cloud Mountain range and can return in an instant. The Divine Sword Son. He will never hurt anyone in the Pure Cloud sect. Moreover, that evil creature, the Divine Sword Son, will definitely die. Brother Jialanzi, please help me trap the pursuers. I will personally kill the Divine Sword Son. Xiao Han immediately sent a message to Jialanzi. All right. The Divine Sword Son is indeed a man who will bring about his own destruction. His grade has fallen and his immortal strength has fallen to the standard of a level 1 true immortal. If Brother Xiao wants to kill him, it is more than enough. Then I will use a small magical treasure to set up an illusion to trap Heaven's Son and the others first. After Brother Xiao kills the Divine Sword Sun, I will meet up with Brother Xiao. Thank you, Brother Jialanzi. Xiao. Xiao Han's body turned into a stream of light and shot towards the Pure Cloud Mountain range. Behind Xiao Han, a large group of immortals were full of killing intent. They urged their immortal qi and chased after Xiao Han with the speed of teleportation. However, at this moment, boom, 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 boom. A huge immortal pillar descended from the four corners of the north, south, east, and west. On top of each pillar, there were runes engraved on it. A kind of reversal of time and space, a trace of chaotic space, trapped Heaven's Son and the other immortals. Magical treasure? Heaven's Son was slightly stunned. Then he led the immortals to charge left and right, but they were still unable to rush out of the area covered by the four immortal pillars. Damn it! It must be Jialanzi's doing. All of them took out their magical treasures and immortal techniques to break this illusion. Jialanzi, this idiot, in order to protect Xiao Han, he actually used such a magical treasure. This magical treasure should have been given to him by his sect for him to use in the second floor of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure, right? But it was wasted here. No matter, let's break this magical treasure first. Xiao Han, this evil creature. As long as he is still in this plane, he will not be able to escape from our palms. Under Heaven's Son's command, dozens of immortals each used their immortal techniques to attack the immortal pillars. Pure Cloud Mountain Range. The huge Pure Cloud Mountain Range. It was shrouded in a dark and austere atmosphere. The Divine Sword Sun stood in the void with his hands behind his back. The corner of his mouth was pulled into an incomparably ferocious smile. In his eyes, there was a kind of pleasure of revenge. Kill all the men. Ravage all the women. Especially Xiao Han's wives. Kill all of them. Xiaoan, don't cry. Mo Qingtong hugged her son and gently stroked his smooth and tender cheeks. Then she raised her head and looked at Princess Mo Hen, Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong. Sisters, we are all Xiao Han's women. We are all Xiao Han's women. This time, this immortal has come to our door and wants to humiliate us. We must not let Xiao Han lose face. Later, we will end it ourselves. After saying that, Mo Qingtong looked at her son in her arms. 2 lines of tears uncontrollably fell down. This immortal Jialanzi, once left a spiritual mark in our Pure Cloud Mountain range. Wu Yu raised his eyes to the sky and said in a clear voice, if there is any danger in our Pure Cloud Mountain range, Immortal Jialanzi will lend a helping hand. I hope this immortal will not be too unscrupulous. Ha ha. The Divine Sword Sun laughed wildly. Jialanzi? Ha ha. Yes, if Jialanzi is here, he can indeed protect you. However, at this moment Jialanzi is being entangled by the Son of Heaven. I'm afraid Xiao Han has also been captured. Who do you think can protect you? Forget it, kill tens of thousands of people first and bathe this Pure Cloud Mountain range in blood. As he spoke, every pore on the Divine Sword Sun's body blossomed with supreme sword intent. Many profound sword principles were brewing. Needless to say, once the Divine Sword Sun unleashed his sword chi, this Pure Cloud Mountain range would be filled with rivers of blood and corpses. At this critical moment, Divine Sword Sun. Xiao Han's indifferent voice suddenly appeared behind the Divine Sword Sun. Xiao Han? The Divine Sword Sun was shocked and quickly turned around. He saw Xiao Han walking in the void, walking towards the Divine Sword Sun step by step. Finally, Xiao Han returned to the Pure Cloud Mountain range right before the Divine Sword Sun began his massacre. At this moment, Xiao Han had completely concealed the aura of his immortal body. The Spirit Turtle True Chi wrapped around him flawlessly. Xiao Han. You actually returned. Jialanzi. Where's Jialanzi? The Divine Sword Sun was terrified. He was like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bow. He was afraid that Xiao Han and Jialanzi would return together. In the blink of an eye, the Divine Sword Sun scanned with his immortal sense. Phew, Xiao Han, so you returned to the Pure Cloud Mountain range alone. The Divine Sword Sun carefully scanned the surrounding 10,000 li but did not find Jialanzi's aura. His heart calmed down and the panic in his eyes turned ferocious. Xiao Han. You bastard. You caused my grade to drop. You came back empty-handed. Originally you relied on Jialanzi's protection. This immortal really could not kill you. I could only kill the people around you to vent my anger. However, since you came back so eagerly then, This immortal will kill you. Since this immortal could not enter the second floor of the immortal emperor's treasure, I might as well kill you. So that all the immortals who came to this plane, whether it was Jiao Lanzi or Heaven's Son, could not enter the second floor of the immortal emperor's treasure. Ah! If worst comes to worst, after this immortal returns to the immortal world, I will roam the world and avoid the pursuit of Jiao Lanzi and Heaven's Son. Ah! In the eyes of the divine sword son, there was an almost perverted joy. As for Xiao Han, his face was cold. He turned a deaf ear to the words of the divine sword son. He walked straight towards the divine sword son and said coldly, "Divine sword son, you are the first immortal that I, Xiao Han, have killed with my own hands. I will blast you into pieces. Your immortal body will be reduced to ashes." Chapter 586. Xiao Han's entire body was filled with a murderous aura that was as violent as lava. He flew through the air and walked towards Shinjianzi step by step. However, Xiao Han still did not release any aura of an immortal. This caused Shinjianzi to repeatedly scan with his immortal sense, but he still thought that Xiao Han was just immortal. The entire Nine Peaks mountain range was also silent. Everyone's eyes were focused on Xiao Han and Shinjianzi. Moreover, everyone was worried for Xiao Han. Xiao Han's entire body is filled with murderous aura. He actually wants to use his own strength to kill this immortal in front of him. Wu Yu was filled with shock. Although the entire Nine Peaks sect regarded Xiao Han as their spiritual leader, and during the battle to repel the demon army from the foreign plains, Xiao Han had displayed an unparalleled domineering aura that was unstoppable even against millions of enemies. However, at this moment Xiao Han was facing an immortal. A real immortal. A mortal killing an immortal. This had never happened in any history, in any unofficial history, or in any legend. It was absolutely impossible for this to happen. This was a battle between two life forms that were as different as heaven and earth. It was impossible for a miracle to happen. No, Xiao Han. Don't take the risk and fight with an immortal. Wu Yu was almost roaring. Unfortunately, under the suppression of the auras of the Divine Sword Master and Xiao Han, the people of the Pure Cloud sect, from the Crow tribe to the ordinary disciples, were all suppressed, unable to speak. However, strange sounds could be heard coming from their throats. "Jiao Lanzi. Immortal Jiao Lanzi. Quick, come and help." Everyone in the Nine Peaks sect roared in their hearts. Above the void, Shinjianzi was also extremely cautious. He was afraid that Jiao Lanzi was secretly protecting Xiao Han. After all, he had suffered a great loss in Jiao Lanzi's hands. Once bitten, twice shy. However, when his immortal sense spread out, it covered an area of hundreds of thousands of miles. There was no trace of Jiao Lanzi's aura. Gradually, Shinjianzi also relaxed. He looked at Xiao Han with an extremely exaggerated expression and let out a hysterical roar. "Ah! Ah! I know. It must be Emperor Tsang and the others. You trapped Jiao Lanzi so that he could not protect you, Xiao Han, you little evil creature. Ah! And Xiao Han, you couldn't just sit back and watch the safety of your family and fellow disciples. Therefore you rushed back to die. Ah! This is called Heaven's net has long arms but nothing escapes. Xiao Han. Today I want you dead." Heaven's net has a long way to go? Xiao Han was getting calmer and calmer. Yes, it's true that Heaven's net has long arms but it never escapes. Divine Sword Son, you have committed countless crimes in the mortal world. Today you will be punished. Let's settle it all together. You must die, and so must Heaven's Son and the other unforgivable immortals. Any immortal who comes to the mortal world and wants to trample on mortals as he pleases. All of them will perish here. Ha! Is there something wrong with his brain? Ah! The Divine Sword Master threw his head back and roared with laughter. He laughed so hard that tears were about to come out of his eyes. Insignificant mortal, inferior to pigs and dogs, you actually dare to say that you want to slaughter immortals? Ah! Although this immortal's rank has fallen to the first level of the true immortal realm, I still want to kill you, Xiao Han. In other words, it's just a thought. Jiao Lanzi probably gave you some immortal treasures, which is why you dare to be so arrogant here. However, a mere mortal, even if you have a supreme immortal treasure, you definitely can't unleash its true power. Xiao Han. If you kneel in front of me and kowtow, I can give you a dignified death. Otherwise, I will ravage your 4 wives in front of you and make them suffer. You took turns to ravage them, making them wish they were dead. Your son. The Divine Sword Child completely disregarded Xiao Han. No matter how powerful a mortal was, he could not pose any threat to an immortal. While Divine Sword Sun was talking non-stop, humiliating Xiao Han to his heart's content, Xiao Han had already approached Divine Sword Sun. All of a sudden, Xiao Han let out a roar. Divine Sword Sun, you piece of sh*t. Die. At the same time, Xiao Han's immortal physique aura was no longer suppressed. The radiance of the dual attribute immortal physique suddenly bloomed. Divine rays of light rolled, and Xiao Han's entire body seemed to become tall, invincible and dominating everything. Above Xiao Han's head, the veins of the immortal realm appeared. A deep spacetime wormhole appeared above Xiao Han's head, connecting to the immortal realm. What? In an instant, Divine Sword Sun's body shook violently, and he fell into a completely unbelievable whirlpool of confusion. Immortal physique? Such a powerful immortal physique? What is this? The moment Xiao Han released the power of his immortal physique, his right fist had already punched toward Divine Sword Sun. This punch was not held back at all. This punch was a punch that Xiao Han had prepared for a long time, a punch that concentrated the power of his immortal physique. This punch had reached the peak of the attack power of an ordinary level, 4 true immortal. This punch had the terrifying power of 40 immortal dragons. Dragons and snakes coiled around the fist and electricity crackled. It was as if a world of lightning from the immortal world was brewing within it, capable of devouring and ripping apart everything. This punch was like the descent of a demon god, the birth of heaven, the beginning of chaos, the roar of heavenly dragons, the apocalypse. This was definitely not the power of a mortal, but the pure power of an immortal. Caught off guard, coupled with the shock, Xiao Han's punch, which had been at its peak, actually landed on the body of the Divine Sword Prince. Hong! Thousands of mushroom clouds bloomed from Divine Sword Sun's body. From inside his body, there was even the terrifying sound of thunder and the collapse of the world. In an instant, Divine Sword Sun's eyeballs popped out of their sockets. Then numerous cracks appeared on his face and body. The next moment, bow. Divine Sword Sun's immortal physique fell apart like broken jade tiles, shattered and shot out in all directions. Immortal blood sprayed everywhere like water from a well. Was broken. Blown up. With one punch, Xiao Han had blown up Divine Sword Sun's immortal physique. The entire mountain range was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. In the end, no one expected Xiao Han to be able to blow up an immortal with one punch. Moreover, there were even clouds of immortal chi rising from Xiao Han's body just now. Xiao Han's body seemed to have transcended the scope of a mortal body, which was completely incomprehensible to Crow and the others. And at this moment Xiao Han. But he was also relatively calm. Because Xiao Han knew that with his full strength, the ultimate power of 40 immortal dragons, he could definitely kill an immortal. Divine Sword Sun's rank had already fallen, and his strength had sharply decreased. In addition, he was completely unprepared, so it was reasonable for him to be killed by Xiao Han. So, this is the feeling of blowing up an immortal? Although he was calm. At this moment, Xiao Han's heart was still a little surprised and a little strange. So, killing an immortal is not a big deal. Although the immortal physique is impregnable. But it can also be smashed like an egg. Oh, this feeling is really cool. After Divine Sword Sun was blown up, the fragments of his immortal physique scattered in all directions like pieces of broken glass gems, sparkling, and rippling in the sky above the mountain range, like a dreamy starry radiance. This was the life of an immortal. After the end, the only evidence of his existence was fleeting, like a shooting star. Many disciples of the Pure Cloud sect stared at the starlight in a daze. An immortal has fallen. He was a supreme immortal. He has fallen into our mortal world. At this moment, among the fragments of the immortal physique that filled the sky, a sea blue ring was shining brightly. Xiao Han scanned it with his mind. Storage ring. An immortal storage ring? In the next moment, Xiao Han stretched out his hand and grabbed the air. This storage ring was firmly grasped in his hand. At this moment, buzz, something strange happened. The demon monarch's palm tattoo on Xiao Han's left arm actually transmitted waves of soul throbbing. Puff! The demon monarch's palm on his left arm that was firmly suppressed by Xiao Han suddenly appeared. The densely packed tentacles extended in all directions and actually caught all the fragments of the immortal physique that were scattered in the sky. Like a spider web catching insects. Then, something that shocked Xiao Han even more happened. Those sticky tentacles all caught all the fragments of the immortal physique in the sky and then devoured them. The Divine Sword Prince's exploded immortal physique was absorbed by Xiao Han's demon monarch's tentacles. Boom, boom, boom. The fragments of the immortal physique were refined one after another and became nourishment for the demon monarch's palm. This caused the demonic veins of Xiao Han's left arm demon monarch's palm to awaken again. The quality of the demon monarch's palm changed again and again. What? After my demon monarch's palm was modified by the demon gods last time, it absorbed and refined a large amount of essence of the demon monarch's corpse from the other planes. There were many changes, and now it can even forcibly refine and absorb the corpse of an immortal. Xiao Han deeply felt that when the demon monarch's palm refined the fragments of the divine sword prince's immortal physique, the nourishment it received was much more abundant than when it refined the corpse of the demon clan's army from the other planes. This caused the number of awakened demonic veins in Xiao Han's left arm demon monarch's palm to break through from 80 million to 100 million within a few breaths. At this moment Xiao Han frowned slightly and swept his mind. The aura of Jialanzi was sweeping over from hundreds of thousands of miles away. Xiao Han made a prompt decision and immediately activated the spirit turtle True Qi to seal the aura of the demon monarch's palm. He also completely retracted the demon monarch's palm. Brother Xiao, the divine sword prince has been killed, right? Jialanzi's voice came from afar. Xiao Han said calmly. The divine sword prince deserved to die. He was already blown up by my punch. The immortal physique turned into powder. Whoosh, a cool breeze swept past, and Jialanzi had already arrived in front of Xiao Han. Brother Xiao, Sun Tsang and the others have been temporarily trapped by me, Jialanzi smiled and then said after a pause. Just now I seem to feel a faint demonic aura. Demonic aura? Xiao Han pretended to be surprised and said. To be honest, Brother Jialanzi, I had some fortuitous encounters in the past and knew a little bit of the demon clan's techniques. But now that my immortal physique has been formed, that little bit of demonic aura has long been thrown beyond the clouds. Could it be that when I killed the divine sword prince just now, I released a little bit of the demon clan's techniques in my aura? At this moment Xiao Han's immortal physique was strong, and his entire body was as still as a mountain. His body emitted the aura of treasures. It was really difficult to associate him with the demon clan. Jialanzi did not ask further and nodded. Brother Xiao, in a while Sun Tsang and the others will be free. Let's take our time to think about how to deal with those despicable people. Chapter 587. Xiao Han took advantage of the moment when the divine sword prince was unprepared and punched him into powder. However, what surprised Xiao Han the most after killing the divine sword son was that the countless tentacles of the monarch beast left arm that had evolved were able to capture the fragments of the immortal body and refine them. Moreover, after refining the immortal body fragments, they were very effective in nourishing the left arm demon emperor palm. It could awaken countless demon veins in the left arm demon emperor palm. Increase demon power. This was no small matter. However, at this time, Jialanzi rushed over, forcing Xiao Han to give up on the in-depth study of the left arm demon emperor palm. Instead, he used the spirit turtle True Qi to wrap the demonic qi in his left arm and gave a perfunctory reply to Jialanzi. Fortunately, Jialanzi did not pursue the matter further. Moreover, Jialanzi invited Xiao Han to discuss how to deal with Heaven's Son and the other immortals. Then, Brother Jialanzi, please come to the inner sanctum. Xiao Han smiled. After the death of the divine sword prince, the entire inner sanctum returned to its usual peace and tranquility. Xiao Han, Jialanzi, Wu Li, and the others gathered in the inner sanctum. At this time, Xiao Han could vaguely feel that the left arm demon emperor palm was secretly devouring and refining the immortal body fragments of the divine sword prince. It was constantly evolving. It was really amazing. Thank you, Brother Jialanzi, for holding off Heaven's Son and the other immortals for me so that I could personally kill God's sword prince. Xiao Han expressed his gratitude. Brother Xiao, you're welcome. Jialanzi frowned slightly. However, Brother Xiao, Heaven's Son and the other immortals are now making it clear that they want to control you. This makes it difficult for us to give out the quota to enter the second layer of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Although Heaven's Son and the other immortals are temporarily trapped, they will be able to kill their way out of the illusion soon. In this way they will definitely hunt you down. They will definitely not let you go. Yes. Xiao Han nodded in agreement. No matter where I hide in the inner sanctum, they will definitely hunt me down. Even if I hide in the Devil Hero region or even roam the world, I will still be hunted down by Heaven's Son and the other despicable immortals. They are determined to kill me. This? Jialanzi's brows were also tightly knitted together. He used his right index finger to lightly tap the table. His entire person had also sunk into deep thought. After a few dozen breaths, Jialanzi finally spoke. Brother Xiao, I have thought of a few ways to deal with the Firmament Emperor. Now tell me about it so that Brother Xiao can study it. Brother Jialan, please speak, Xiao Han said at once. The first method is for me to invite a group of immortals to fight against Heaven's Son. If necessary, he would kill Heaven's Son and the other immortals. The second method is for me to help Brother Xiao leave this plane and reach the vast universe or other planes in the mortal world. Hearing this, Xiao Han also pondered for a few breaths. He then shook his head slightly. Brother Jialan, these two methods aren't a foolproof plan. The first method was to fight against the Heaven Emperor. This way, the space crystal wall of the mortal world would be destroyed. They would inevitably be blasted apart. The aftermath of the battle would also cause the death of countless creatures. The second method is to hide, but this is also not a long-term solution. As the saying goes, a monk can run away but the temple can't. If I run away, then with the nature of wolves like Heaven Emperor, they might threaten my family and relatives like the Divine Sword Son. They might even kill their way into the Yaoxia Tower and slaughter the elites of my plane. I can't possibly take away all the creatures in the entire plane, can I? Jialanzi heard this and kept nodding. Obviously, Xiao Han's concerns were not completely unreasonable. Brother Xiao, we can't fight or hide. Are we going to give the quota to these ambitious fellows? The quota definitely can't be given to Heaven Emperor and the others, Xiao Han said decisively. The quota should belong to kind immortals like the marvelous mathematician and Tao Tai. I don't care how the quota for other planes is distributed, but when they come to my plane they must be honest and test their character. After a pause, a strange light flashed in Xiao Han's eyes. This little brother has an idea. Oh? Jialanzi and Wu Yu both turned to look at Xiao Han. Brother Xiao has always been full of tricks. Please tell me. Jialanzi looked at Xiao Han with a serious face. Why don't I make a bet with Heaven Emperor and the others? Xiao Han suddenly said. A bet? Jialanzi and Wu Bingyao were both shocked. Yes, a bet. Xiao Han had a look of planning before taking action. Brother Jialanzi, you will be in charge of this matter and inform the immortals of the bet. From now on, I will hide in this plane. Heaven Emperor and the others can find me at will. If they can capture me within half a year, then I admit defeat and am willing to give them 100 quotas to enter the second floor of Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. These 100 quotas will be distributed by them. However, if they can't capture me within this half a year, then all of their quotas to enter the second floor of Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure will be revoked and they will immediately go back to the immortal world. Xiao Han hid in the plane of mortals. Let Heaven Emperor and the others search. Half a year. Jialanzi was stunned and immediately fell into deep thought. Also, Brother Jialanzi, please tell Heaven Emperor and the others that within this half a year, they must not cause any damage to the plane or harm the living beings of the plane. Otherwise, the bet will be cancelled and I will not give them the quotas to enter the second floor of Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Xiao Han said seriously. Xiao Han was also taking a risk with this bet. Given the current situation, Heaven Emperor and the other evil immortals were already in a situation where they would not rest until Xiao Han was dead. They would definitely not let this matter rest. Xiao Han had some scruples. It was inconvenient for him to fight and he could not run away. Therefore, he could only think of such a bet to restrain Heaven Emperor and the other immortals. Moreover, Xiao Han already knew that his Demon Emperor left arm could devour the corpses of immortals and obtain the opportunity to evolve. In this way, Xiao Han vaguely had a plan to slaughter immortals and continuously feed the Demon Emperor left arm palm. Such a plan was very bold. Using the corpses of immortals to nourish the Demon Emperor left arm was tantamount to a heinous crime and an insult to the entire immortal world. Even if Jialanzi knew about this, he would definitely intervene. However, in order to increase his combat strength, Xiao Han did not care at all. Only with tyrannical strength could he win his dignity. At the very least, he could protect his family and loved ones. Therefore, Xiao Han must stay away from Jialanzi's protection and kill the evil immortals under Heaven Emperor one by one in order to realize this bold and heaven-defying plan. Vaguely, Xiao Han also guessed that as long as there were enough immortal corpses to nourish the Demon Emperor left arm palm, then the Demon Emperor left arm palm would evolve to a whole new level. Brother Xiao, this is really too risky. Jialanzi slightly frowned. However, I can always protect Brother Xiao in the dark. That's not necessary. Xiao Han tactfully refused. Brother Jialanzi, if you protect me from the side, this bet will lose its fairness. Heaven Emperor and the others will definitely not agree to it. Moreover, I also want to use this half a year to properly sharpen myself so that I can improve again. In order to make the final preparations for entering the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure a few years later. When he heard that Xiao Han did not need his protection in the dark, Jialanzi also hesitated. Brother Xiao, Heaven Emperor, is extremely cruel and cunning like an old fox. If you're not careful and fall into his hands, I'm afraid. Xiao Han smiled casually. Brother Jialanzi, Heaven Emperor is indeed extraordinary, but I'm not bad either, right? I have a dual attribute immortal physique, and my physical strength has reached 40 immortal dragon strength. Moreover, Heaven Emperor and the others have yet to discover this secret. In this way, it's equivalent to me being in the dark while Heaven Emperor and the others are in the light. Moreover, I have the ability to conceal my own aura, which is considered to be unique. As he spoke, Xiao Han's entire body was filled with spirit turtle true qi, and his entire aura became like stone and wood, indistinct. I have the intention to blend into the mortal world. Even if Heaven Emperor and the others use their immortal senses to scan, they may not be able to find me. Xiao Han's two greatest assets were: first, the dual attribute immortal physique; second, the spirit turtle true qi. These were his assets on the surface. In addition, he had a mental strength that was comparable to an immortal's, which allowed Xiao Han to anticipate the enemy's every move, and the demon monarch palm that was hidden deeply. These few trump cards also gave Xiao Han a little confidence in dealing with Heaven Emperor and the other immortals. If I can safely survive this half a year and win this bet, then I will once again ascend and transform, Xiao Han said decisively. At this moment, Wu Yu, who had been silent all this while, also spoke seriously. Brother Jialanzi, Xiao Han grew up in the Pure Cloud sect. From a living target, he became the current master of the plane. His life has been extremely legendary, and he does not lose to any immortal. During this period, Xiao Han has also experienced various experiences, and many times he was on the verge of death. However, every time he was in danger, Xiao Han was able to escape. And every time he escaped danger, Xiao Han was able to greatly improve. This time, I have a vague feeling that Xiao Han will succeed in the bet with Heaven Emperor and the other evil immortals. Jialanzi thought for a few breaths and finally nodded. If that's the case, Brother Xiao should be careful. In order for Heaven Emperor to agree to this bet, I will not secretly protect Brother Xiao during this half a year. Brother Jialanzi, please do not worry about me. Xiao Han had completely let go of his mind and was ready to accept this experience and deal with a group of powerful immortals. Good. Now, I will go and inform Heaven Emperor and the others of this bet. Jialanzi nodded slightly at Xiao Han and Wu Yu, then turned into a stream of light and flew away. Sect leader, if I can come out unscathed after half a year, then I will completely compete with these immortals, Xiao Han said solemnly. Chapter 588. After Xiao Han and Jialanzi had finished their discussion, Jialanzi took the lead to negotiate with Heaven Emperor and the other immortals about the bet. Watermark advertisement test. Sect Master, this disciple will be going on a long journey. During this half a year, this disciple will conceal his presence and hide in the mortal world. When the time comes, I will not return to the mountain range, Xiao Han said to Wu Yu with a serious expression. Xiao Han, I know your good intentions. Wu Yu also stared at Xiao Han. Other than wanting to take this opportunity to gain experience, you also want to restrain those bad immortals so that they will not harm the common people of this plane. More importantly, you want to protect the entire Cloud sect. Xiao Han, you should quickly say goodbye to your wife and son. Xiao Han was not pretentious. After this farewell, he did not know when he would be able to reunite with his wife and son. Therefore, Xiao Han also hurriedly returned to his true inheritance mountain peak. After returning home, Xiao Han held his son Xiaoan in his arms. He dotingly touched his son's smooth cheeks and told some parting words to his wives. Don't worry, I should have enough resources to deal with Heaven Emperor and the other immortals, Xiao Han promised his wives. I swear that I will definitely grow to the point where I can fight against immortals. In the future, I will no longer have to wander the world and suffer the pain of being separated from my family. Xiao Han, don't worry. I will take care of our son and sisters. Mo Qingtong gently held Xiao Han's hand and said softly. Qingtong believes in you. We are all here looking forward to your return day and night. Jing Yanxue said reluctantly. Lan Shirong and Princess Mo Hen let go of their reservations and nestled in Xiao Han's arms. Jialanzi. Xiao Han. Don't think that a mere illusion can trap me. Emperor Firmament and the other immortals shouted. At this moment, They were still trapped in the illusion created by Jialanzi. They could not escape. Although the power of Heaven Emperor and the other immortals could definitely break this illusion, it was not something that could be done in a short period of time. Unless he used his trump card, but Emperor Tsangtian was unwilling to use his trump card in advance at a time like this. In terms of resources, Heaven Emperor was indeed not as good as Jialanzi. Jialanzi could casually throw out a magic treasure that could create an illusion to trap Heaven Emperor. However, Heaven Emperor could not easily use his magic treasures to escape. Dozens of immortals bombarded the illusionary light barrier repeatedly. Gradually, tiny cracks appeared on the barrier. One of the evil-looking immortals said, "The firmament sun is about to succeed." Master Heaven roared, "Xiaohan, you have guts. How dare you trick me? I swear that I'll definitely capture you and ravage you alive. Cripple that ridiculous cultivation of yours. I'll kill your entire family, old and young, into dregs. Mortals who were worse than pigs and dogs. How dare you make fun of me?" Boom! While cursing, Son of Heaven Firmament unleashed an immortal sword. He ruthlessly slashed at the illusory light membrane that was on the verge of shattering, directly blasting a hole in it. He seemed to have vented all of his anger, hatred, and killing intent towards Xiaohan. Just then, Son of Heaven? Jialanzi's voice suddenly resounded within the illusory light film. At the same time, Jialanzi arrived riding the wind and stood on a seven-colored auspicious cloud. His entire body emitted a moist luster and his appearance was solemn. "Jialanzi, if you insist on taking revenge on Xiaohan, or even want to start a massacre in this plane and humiliate mortals, then don't even think about getting a place to enter the second layer of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure." Roar! Jialanzi, you hypocrite. After seeing Jialanzi, Son of Heaven Firmament became even more furious. "You actually colluded with a puny mortal to make fun of me. Jialanzi, I swear to fight with you. You're just relying on the sex heritage and the fact that you have more magic treasures than me. But it doesn't matter, I also have a trump card in my hand. Let's fight. Let's see who will win and who will lose in the secular world." After pausing for a moment, Son of Heaven Firmament's eyes focused. "Jialanzi, let's fight and decide who will belong to Xiaohan." Jialanzi shook his head slightly. "Son of Heaven Firmament, you're wrong. Brother Zhao's fate is not something we can decide. I think you've misunderstood the key point. The place to enter the second layer of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure is in Brother Zhao's hands. If you dare to do anything to Brother Xiao, then Brother Xiao absolutely has the right to expel you and refuse to give you the place. This decision has been approved by my sect and the few immortal emperors above. If you're stubborn, when we return to the immortal world, you, Son of Heaven Firmament, will also be punished." Nonsense. The future of I, Son of Heaven Firmament, will not be decided by a mortal. Son of Heaven Firmament roared. "Jialanzi, you're so dignified. You probably don't want me to enter the exploration a few years later, so you're using your official position for personal gain and asked Xiaohan to expel me. I won't be convinced by you, let's fight." The dozens of immortals in the alliance with Son of Heaven Firmament also glared at Jialanzi like tigers watching their prey, ready to fight. These immortals had spent countless resources of their sect and passed through strict selections to obtain the opportunity to descend to the mortal world. It was absolutely impossible for them to give up the chance to enter the second layer of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. However, even if they were not convinced, these immortals, including Son of Heaven Firmament, also had hidden worries in their hearts. After all, Jialanzi's background was too deep. Once he used the power of his sect and even the few immortal emperors above him to suppress Son of Heaven Firmament and the others, it would indeed be somewhat troublesome. "Forget it, let's cut the crap. Son of Heaven Firmament, listen carefully." Finally, Jialanzi said with a serious face. "Regarding the place to enter the second layer of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure, both of us can't come to an agreement. We might as well not argue anymore. Brother Xiao is willing to make a bet with you, Son of Heaven Firmament." "Bet?" Son of Heaven Firmament was stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter. "Jialanzi, are you kidding me? Bet? An ant-like mortal wants to bet with me, Son of Heaven Firmament? Ah. It seems that Jialanzi, you have been interacting with mortals for a long time and have some problems with your brain. What qualifications does a mortal have to bet with an immortal?" Ha ha ha. The immortals behind Son of Heaven Firmament also laughed wildly as if they had heard the funniest thing in the world. These guys. Arrogant and conceited. Foolish beyond compare. Jialanzi thought. He sighed with emotion. If they continue to see Brother Xiao as a weak mortal, then this bet is very likely for them to lose. Listen. Jialanzi's voice interrupted the unbridled laughter of Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals. Now Brother Shao will hide in the mortal world. Within half a year you are free to search. If you can find Brother Shao, then Son of Heaven Firmament, Brother Shao will give you a total of 100 places to enter the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. You are free to distribute them. On the contrary, if you cannot find Brother Shao within half a year, then please return to the immortal world immediately and do not harass him. Ha! As soon as Jialanzi said this, Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals suddenly became silent. One by one. You look at me, I look at you. It was as if they could not believe Jialanzi's words. This bet. Son of Heaven Firmament's eyes flickered. I have already memorized Shao Han's aura with my immortal sense. This is a mere mortal world. No matter where Shao Han is hiding, I will find him in an instant. Jialanzi, your crafty schemes cannot deceive me at all. There is something wrong with this bet. If I'm not wrong, you'll probably help Shao Han in secret, or simply send Shao Han to another plane, or let him rest in the vast universe for half a year. Son of Heaven Firmament, do you think I, Jialanzi, am such a despicable person? Jialanzi scolded. I will absolutely not interfere in this bet. I can also guarantee that Brother Shao will not leave this plane. I, Jialanzi, have always been a man of my words and I never lie. This is something that the entire immortal world has witnessed. Jialanzi paused for a moment and added. Moreover, I will not give Brother Shao any magical treasures to hide his aura. This bet is a game between you and Brother Shao. I will absolutely not participate. Hearing this, Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals could not help but secretly nod their heads. Yes, Jialanzi's words had always been honest. He was a famous master and they had never heard of him spouting nonsense in the immortal world. Son of Heaven Firmament, during this half a year, you are not allowed to destroy this plane, let alone kill the creatures of this plane. Otherwise the bet will be nullified. So, do you dare to make the bet? Jialanzi questioned. Ah, I don't dare? I, Son of Heaven Firmament, don't dare? Why would I, Son of Heaven Firmament, not dare to make a bet with a mere mortal? Dill. Immediately, Son of Heaven Firmament also agreed. Jialanzi, when I capture Shao Han, I hope you will not go back on your words and obstruct me again. Otherwise don't blame me for being impolite. I, Son of Heaven Firmament, am afraid of killing Shao Han, but it is not that I am afraid to kill all the other creatures of this plane. Forget it, Son of Heaven Firmament, you can search for Brother Shao in this half a year. Jialanzi's figure dissipated and retreated. The next moment, poof, the illusory light film that enveloped Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals was directly destroyed. Whoosh, 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 Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals flew out one by one. Many immortals, with Son of Heaven Firmament as the core, gathered together. Son of Heaven Firmament, this bet is very strange. Could it be a trap? A few immortals asked at the same time. Although Jialanzi is a hypocrite and sanctimonious, he is also a man of his word. Son of Heaven Firmament smiled coldly. It seems that Shao Han wants to use this bet to restrain us so that we will not wantonly kill the mortals in this plane. You are all very familiar with Shao Han's aura. Then all of you search carefully. Release your immortal senses. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find Shao Han. Alright. Son of Heaven Firmament, don't worry. With our immortal senses, it is impossible that we cannot find Shao Han. Tisk tsk? After we obtain 100 spots, we can wantonly extort other immortals and raise the price. Ah. Capturing Shao Han is a piece of cake. These 100 spots are simply at our fingertips. At the same time, Shao Han had quietly left the Unity Mountain range. Shao Han was wearing a green robe and did not bring any luggage with him. He left the Unity Mountain range on foot alone. Chapter 589. The bet has begun. Shao Han murmured as he gazed at the Misty Mountain range. This is a game of the hunter and the hunted. However, who is the hunter and who is the prey is still unknown. Pure Cloud Sect, I will be back. In the next moment, Shao Han strode towards the outer region of the Pure Cloud Mountain range with large strides. While Shao Han was walking, the aura of his immortal physique disappeared without a trace. Soon after, his true chi ripples and the functions of his flesh were completely sealed. Now, I look like an ordinary person who doesn't know martial arts. However, it's still not enough to deceive the heavens and Heaven's Son and the other extraordinary immortals. Then, Shao Han's eyes flickered slightly. In the next moment, The solid mental force star in his sea of consciousness suddenly shrank. The soul fluctuations and life aura were all retracted. They were tightly shrunk into a ball. Just like that, even Xiao Han's soul fluctuations were perfectly sealed in the solid mental force star. Soon, whoosh, 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 within the solid mental force star, a few deliberately distorted spiritual fluctuations were shot out by Xiao Han. After these few soul fluctuations were distorted, Xiao Han's temperament suddenly changed greatly. Now Xiao Han's temperament had lost its previous liveliness and carefreeness. It was no longer domineering and unruly. Instead, it seemed very vulgar and uncouth. The strength of my soul mental force won't lose to ordinary immortals. Moreover, the extinguishing heaven and earth mental force also has some tricks to change the characteristics of the soul and temperament. Now, I'm just going to disguise myself a little. Heaven's son, what can you do to me? Xiao Han's figure moved faster and faster. Gradually he disappeared without a trace. At the same time, above the pure cloud mountain range, a vast immortal sense swept across. Brother Xiao is indeed mysterious. Even I can't sense Brother Xiao's existence all of a sudden. Jia Lanzi appeared in the pure cloud palace. He was indeed a man who kept his promise. Since he said that he would not interfere with the bet between Xiao Han and Heaven's Son and the others, he would definitely not interfere. Even the immortal sense mark that he left on Xiao Han's body to secretly protect Xiao Han had been completely removed. As a result, Jia Lanzi could only rely on his immortal sense to search for Xiao Han. TSK. Amazing. Marvelous. Jia Lanzi repeatedly used his immortal senses to scan Xiao Han's soul spirit aura, but he still couldn't find Xiao Han. It seems that these foolish fellows, such as the Son of Heaven, are very likely to suffer a great loss because of Brother Xiao. Immortal Jia Lanzi. At this moment, Crown Head, Xiao Mingqiu, Dongfang Qin and Fang Ling came out at the same time. Jia Lanzi smiled faintly. Sect Master Wu, everyone, for the next 6 months I will reside in your Luoyang mountain range. Although the Firmament Son of Heaven and the others have already promised not to attack Brother Xiao during this half a year, but I'm still worried, so I decided to stay in the Luoho mountain range. I can't let despicable immortals like the Divine Sword Child come to Luoho again. I couldn't have asked for more. He also smiled. Immortal Jia Lanzi, I've encountered some bottlenecks in my sword arts. I hope that Immortal Jia Lanzi can give me some pointers, Fang Ling suddenly said. Sure. Jia Lanzi said without hesitation. Just like that, Jia Lanzi settled down in the Luoho mountain range. In his spare time, he would play chess with Wu Ling and give pointers to the many core disciples of the Luoho sect. Of course, Jia Lanzi did not forget to cover this plain with his immortal sense to search for traces of Xiao Han. 1 month later, there were immortals floating in the void of this plain in the north, south, east, west, and the great wilderness, eastern domain. In the airspace of the Haichang Empire, the Firmament Son sat cross-legged on an immortal cloud. He activated his immortal sense and spread it out. Ripples that were visible to the naked eye appeared around the Firmament Son of Heaven's body. This was the manifestation of the Firmament Son's immortal sense being activated to the extreme. With the Firmament Son of Heaven's immortal force, once he released his immortal sense, it could instantly cover more than half of the plain. Beside the Firmament Son of Heaven, there were 3 women and 3 men sitting cross-legged, a total of 6 immortals. These 6 immortals, like the Firmament Son of Heaven, were trying their best to release their immortal sense to search for Xiao Han's whereabouts. After a long time, Big Brother Firmament Son of Heaven, a female immortal, frowned. Poison Dragon Child and the others from the Western region sent a message saying that they have thoroughly searched the Western region for a month and read the soul spirit auras of more than 10 billion living beings. However, they did not find any trace of Xiao Han. The Big Dipper and the others from the southern region have also dug 3 feet into the ground and even searched the 6 Peaks mountain range for a total of 81 times. However, they did not find any trace of Xiao Han. The people we have arranged in the northern region, the Great Wilderness, and the Devil Hero region have also found nothing. Xiao Han seems to have vanished from this plane of existence. The Firmament Son of Heaven let out a cold snort, causing the space to tremble. His eyes were filled with malice and anger. A bunch of trash. Dozens of immortals have searched for an entire month and still could not find Xiao Han's whereabouts. Are we immortals going to be toyed with by a mortal ant like Xiao Han? Search for him. Convey my order and descend into the secular world. East, south, west, west, great wilderness, 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 city by city. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find Xiao Han. In addition, seek help from the other immortals that descend and ask them to help us find Xiao Han. After a pause, Firmament Son of Heaven's eyes turned. Spread the word that any immortal that descends into this realm, as long as they capture Xiao Han, I, Firmament Son of Heaven, am willing to give them a spot to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Moreover, I, Firmament Son of Heaven, will owe them a favor. Big brother Firmament Son of Heaven, a spot to search for treasures and a favor from you? The other immortals were all shocked. One should know that Firmament Son of Heaven was definitely an outstanding genius among the younger generation in the immortal world. Although his background was not as good as Jiao Lanzi's, it was still quite extraordinary. Some immortal emperors even believed that he would definitely have a great future. A favor from him was too precious. Spread the word. With a great reward there will be brave men. I don't believe that we can't find a mere mortal. Firmament Son of Heaven grinned. Eastern Domain. In a small country. This country was very ordinary in the prosperous Eastern Domain. It was inconspicuous. In such an ordinary country, there were not even a few martial arts sections. However, even in such an inconspicuous country, there were countless people. In the streets and alleys, peddlers and servants, all kinds of life could be seen. At this time, in a county in this country, a bearded man was leisurely sitting by the window on the second floor of a restaurant, drinking his morning tea. Master Yun. Your barbecued pork buns? The waiter happily carried a plate of freshly made barbecued pork buns and obediently placed it on the table of the bearded man. The bearded man had come to this county a month ago and had been staying in this restaurant. Although he looked rough, he was a bit arrogant. Although he looked rough, he was very friendly and generous. Soon, he became a distinguished guest in the hearts of the restaurant, from the boss to the waiters. The bearded man smiled indifferently. He took out some gold and silver from his bosom and casually gave them to the waiter. The waiter's face was completely rotten from smiling and he said repeatedly, "Please enjoy your meal, please enjoy your meal." Then he grabbed the gold and silver on the table and left happily. This bearded man. It was Xiao Han in disguise. Xiao Han had deliberately changed the aura of his soul to hide from the immortal's search. However, as the master of the plane, he had built many temples in the mortal world to worship him. Many temples were built to worship him. This forced Xiao Han to change his appearance and disguise himself to fool the eyes of the common people. Therefore, he disguised himself as a rough man with a full beard, which matched his temperament at the moment. I've lived in the mortal world for a whole month. Xiao Han ate the barbecued pork buns on the plate. Every cell in his body was filled with satisfaction. I've put down my identity and everything. I've been living with peddlers and pawns all day long. Instead, my heart is getting calmer and calmer. The true acupoints in my body are getting more and more solid. Even the 71st true acupoint feels like it could burst at any time. After a pause, Xiao Han raised his eyes and looked at the sky playfully. Coincidentally, the area where Xiao Han's eyes landed was where Heaven Emperor was. Heaven Emperor, you guys have been searching for me for a month, but you can't even find my fart. I'm afraid you guys will spend half a year in vain. Tiske, with Heaven Emperor as the leader, dozens of immortals can't even find a mortal like me. How ironic. Xiao Han sipped a few more mouthfuls of tea and ate a few barbecued pork buns. Then he stretched comfortably, stood up and said to the waiter, "Send lunch to my room later. I'll go back and take a nap." "Can Master Yun please help yourself?" The waiter nodded and bowed. In the mortal world, Xiao Han's alias was ***. In a spacious suite, Xiao Han sat cross-legged in a small winding garden at the back. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, there was a faint sound of an undercurrent coming from Xiao Han's left arm. It was as if a violent disaster was erupting inside Xiao Han's left arm. "I've finally refined it completely." Xiao Han was secretly delighted. After a month, the demon monarch left arm palm has finally refined the divine sword sun's immortal body fragment. Tiske, after devouring and refining the essence of an immortal's corpse, the demon monarch left arm palm has evolved again. The demonic energy has skyrocketed. Xiao Han activated the spirit turtle true chi to seal the demonic energy in his left arm. At the same time, he released a spiritual wave into his left arm. Inside Xiao Han's left arm, it was as if a demon realm was brewing. The demonic chi within was dense and evil. The demonic veins were like evil dragons coiling around each other. It was filled with the demonic aura of ancient times. Now, after refining the divine sword sun's immortal body, The number of demon veins awakened in my demon monarch left arm palm has reached 120 million. The capacity of each demon vein has expanded to 6,000 times that of an ordinary demon emperor with a bloodline. In this way, my pure demonic energy has reached 72 trillion cauldrons, which is equivalent to the strength of 7 immortal dragons. It's also the basic strength of an ordinary level 1 true immortal. Xiao Han was also very satisfied. Then a light of eagerness burst out from Xiao Han's eyes. Damn it, if I can kill a few more immortals to feed the demon monarch left arm palm, it'll be awesome. It seems that I can't keep hiding forever. When the time is right, I'll have to take the initiative to attack. I'll deliberately release my true aura to lure some immortals and then kill them directly. Chapter 590. Xiao Han's concealment technique was indeed extraordinary. It caused Heaven's Son and the other immortals to use their immortal senses to search this plane repeatedly for nearly a month. They had almost dug 3 feet into the ground, but they still could not find Xiao Han in the vast sea of people. Xiao Han's soul and mental strength were even stronger than the immortals like Heaven's Son. Therefore, Xiao Han's mental strength could clearly capture the immortal senses of those immortals. On the contrary, those immortals' immortal senses could not lock onto Xiao Han's mental strength. Xiao Han was in the dark while the immortals were out in the open. At this moment, strands of immortal senses swept past Xiao Han's body. Xiao Han deliberately distorted a few of his mental strength to allow these immortal senses to capture him. Naturally, these immortal senses were confused by the fake mental strength and soul aura created by Xiao Han and could not distinguish anything at all. After the immortal senses swept past the area where Xiao Han was at, they continued to sweep into the distance. Very soon they had thoroughly filtered the entire county of this small country. Why do you have to do this? Xiao Han stretched his body lazily and returned to his room. He happily sat beside the square table and prepared to enjoy today's sumptuous lunch. For the past month every day there would be immortal senses sweeping through this county, this country, the 4 regions of the east, south, west, and the great wilderness. But I'm still sitting here without being discovered. Son of the heaven, is this all you have? It was ironic to think about it. The immortal senses of Heaven's Son and the other immortals would appear in the area where Xiao Han was at every day. They would even sweep past Xiao Han every day. Every day Xiao Han would leisurely sit on the 2nd floor of this restaurant and drink tea. Sometimes he would go to the street to drink with a group of idlers and play finger-guessing games. Otherwise he would go to the alley to play chess and chat with a group of old men. Xiao Han completely ignored the scanning of Heaven's Son and the others. There was no trace of him at all. Half a year. If I don't deliberately reveal a flaw, these guys won't be able to find me at all. Xiao Han smiled with satisfaction. After lunch, Xiao Han sat in the garden and basked in the sun. His eyes slightly narrowed as he looked up at the blue sky and murmured, "It's not that I, Xiao Han, don't have any goals. To hide for half a year without being found by Heaven's Son and the others? That's not the true purpose of the bet. In the next 6 months I, Xiao Han, will not only deal with those heartless immortals, but also fight them in the truest sense. My demon, the arch left arm palm, is hungry and thirsty. It needs a large number of immortal corpses to feed it." Right now, Xiao Han's demonic monarch left arm demonic monarch palm was unable to evolve after absorbing ordinary demonic chi or even devouring the corpses of demonic monarchs. It could be said that the demonic monarch left arm demonic monarch palm had reached a bottleneck and it was hard for it to advance. But now, the demonic sovereign left arm palm could even devour and refine the corpse of an immortal. This meant that it no longer had any bottlenecks. It was even more precious than the corpses of many ordinary demonic race sovereigns. Heaven's Son, a prodigy of the immortal world who is said to be on par with Brother Jialan. He is eager to capture me. However, if I devour him and feed him to my left arm demon god palm, then it will be fun. I wonder to what extent will my left arm demon god palm evolve to? Xiao Han's heart was getting more and more restless. He couldn't help but stick out his tongue and lick his lips. Without Brother Jialan by my side, I can actually do whatever I want without the slightest restriction. Xiao Han actually had an extremely bold idea: to kill Heaven's Son. To devour the immortal body of Heaven's Son. Moreover, this bold idea did not vanish quickly. Instead, it became more and more mature. This caused Xiao Han's killing intent towards Heaven's Son to become more and more intense. If there's nothing wrong with my spiritual force, then Heaven's immortal sense will sweep through this city every day. In other words, Heaven's Son is in the eastern region. Not only could Jialanzi, Heaven's Son, and the other immortals remember Xiao Han's soul aura and life force through their immortal sense, Xiao Han could also use his own spiritual force to firmly remember the traces of immortal sense and life force of these immortals, making it easy to identify them. The frequency of Heaven's immortal sense and even the life force of his entire body could be detected by Xiao Han's spiritual force. There was no mistake. Xiao Han was certain that Heaven's Son was in the eastern region. Since Heaven's Son is in the eastern region, then I'll temporarily avoid him. Xiao Han decided on the next step of his plan. Although he had the idea of killing Heaven's Son, Xiao Han currently did not have enough resources to directly contend against Heaven's Son. After all, in terms of immortal force and immortal technique, Heaven's Son would not lose to Jialanzi. He was a bright star among the younger generation of the immortal world. Xiao Han knew that even if he launched a sneak attack, he would not be able to pose any threat to Heaven's Son. Instead, he would be killed. Therefore, Xiao Han also decided to temporarily leave the eastern region and avoid Heaven's Son. Ah? Master Yun, you're leaving? The manager of the restaurant looked at Xiao Han with a face full of regret. In the past month, this extravagant tycoon had brought a lot of profit to this restaurant. Now that they heard that this master was leaving, a sense of loss welled up in the hearts of the people in the restaurant. Ha ha ha! Xiao Han laughed out loud in a hoarse voice. His laughter was extremely heroic and it was very compatible with his current image and temperament. All good things must come to an end. I'm leaving too. Ha ha. After saying that, Xiao Han turned around and left in a carefree manner. Not long after Xiao Han left the county, whoosh whoosh whoosh, a few figures within different auras suddenly descended as if they were monarchs descending upon the world. The one in the lead was Heaven's Son. Big brother Heaven's Son, that Xiao Han has hidden himself too well. We've spent a lot of effort to use our immortal sense to scan the eastern region. It's not an exaggeration to say that we've searched almost all the living beings in the eastern region, but we still couldn't find Xiao Han's whereabouts. Now we have no choice but to enter the secular world to search for clues. That Xiao Han is really difficult to deal with. Maybe he's not even in the eastern region? A female immortal beside Heaven's Son grumbled. Heaven's Son glared at the female immortal discontentedly, causing her to keep quiet out of fear. The female immortal immediately changed the topic. Big brother Heaven's Son, we've already sent out your order. Most of the immortals that have arrived in this plane know about it. If we capture Xiao Han, we'll get a place to enter the second floor of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure and a favor from you. As soon as this message was released, it received the support of many immortals. Now, not only us, there are at least hundreds of immortals searching everywhere for Xiao Han. Big brother Heaven's Son, this way. We don't have to worry about not being able to capture Xiao Han. Of course, what we're most afraid of is Jialanzi interfering. There's no need to worry about Jialanzi. I know this person very well. He won't interfere. Heaven's Son smiled coldly. All right, since we've entered the secular world, we'll carefully investigate the various countries in the eastern region. Xiao Han is extremely famous in this plane. He's known as the master of this plane. He's fully deserving of being the leader of this plane. In the secular world, temples had been built in many places to worship him. So, if Xiao Han's true body were to appear, it would be impossible for him to do so. If Xiao Han's true body appears in the secular world, it will definitely cause a commotion. However, our immortal senses are constantly monitoring this person's appearance. In the past month, there hasn't been any sensational event. There weren't any sensational events and there weren't any waves stirring. In other words, Xiao Han, this guy, has most likely changed his appearance. Yes. What Heaven's Son said is very true. Xiao Han is most likely in disguise and mingling with the people of the secular world. He won't be discovered by anyone. The immortals standing beside Heaven's Son nodded in agreement. From now on, mobilize the mortals of this plane and begin the investigation. Search every inch of this plane. Find all the unfamiliar faces that have appeared in the secular world in the past month. Heaven's Son said with certainty. Give these mortals gold and silver. Launch a carpet search. Mobilize 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, and even 10 million mortals. I don't believe that I can't find Xiao Han in half a year. Alright, Heaven's Son, we can mobilize the manpower of some sects and empires in the secular world. We can even use the most well-informed hooligans in each city to track down the suspicious strangers that have appeared in the past month. Launch the operation immediately. Heaven's Son ordered. Xiao Han spurred his horse on and galloped for 3 days and 3 nights. He left the country he was previously in and traveled day and night, passing through 3 countries. When the sun set on the 4th day, he arrived at a prosperous empire in the eastern region, the Yanhua Empire. Yanhua Empire. Flying Heaven City. Xiao Han was leading a black horse as he walked along the main road of Flying Sky City, looking travel-worn. Flying Heaven City was very densely populated. The streets were wide enough for several horses to walk side by side. The streets were bustling with pedestrians. It was early evening and the whole city was charming. The air was filled with the fragrance of cosmetics, wine, and all kinds of delicious food. What a prosperous city! Xiao Han no longer hurried on his journey. He led his horse and walked leisurely while observing. He had completely forgotten his identity and completely immersed himself in the cheerful and peaceful atmosphere of the secular world. Although with Xiao Han's physique he did not feel the slightest bit tired after continuously traveling for a few days, he still felt a little tired at this moment. I might as well stay in this city for a few days before leaving the eastern region. These few days I've been observing as I hurried on my way. The aura of heaven's celestial sense has been lingering in the eastern region and has never left. It seems like the immortals who are pursuing me have also divided their territories. Heaven's sun should be mainly in charge of the eastern region. Xiao Han continued to walk as he spread out his spiritual force to survey the situation in the city. Suddenly Xiao Han discovered that there were a few strands of celestial qi mixed in with the crowd in the city. Although these strands of celestial qi were deliberately concealed, they could not escape the detection of Xiao Han's spiritual force. Moreover, Xiao Han was certain that one of the strands of immortal qi belonged to an immortal who worked with Emperor Chang Tian to capture and kill him in the past. At the same time, have you seen any strangers entering or leaving this inn recently? A small group of soldiers entered an inn and asked carefully. The owner of the inn pondered for a moment before shaking his head. During this period of time, all the people staying in the inn are regulars. There haven't been any unfamiliar faces. If there are any strangers entering the inn, report it immediately. You can't protect them. The soldiers gave the owner some instructions before leaving the inn. After exiting the inn, a young soldier said to a middle-aged soldier, "Brother Zhang, why are we searching for unfamiliar faces all over the city? Whose idea is this?" It's said that some mysterious people have appeared and offered a large sum of money to search for strangers who have appeared in our Flying Sky City in the past month. The middle-aged soldier said with a smile. It's said that those mysterious people are extremely generous. The money they offered is irresistible. Who cares, we're just putting on an act. It'll be best if we can find any strangers, but if we can't, then forget it. Xiao Han discovered that the entire city was filled with soldiers who were in full uniform, searching for unfamiliar faces. At the end of the streets, there were also many idlers who were searching everywhere. Oh? Immortals who are mingling in this city? And soldiers who are searching everywhere for strangers? Xiao Han rubbed his nose. Things are getting interesting. In the next moment, Xiao Han stretched his muscles. I've been idle for more than a month. Now it's finally time to get down to business. Heaven's son, let the battle between us officially begin. Chapter 591. Xiao Han disguised his identity and roamed the Jianghu. When he arrived at Flying Sky City in the eastern region's Flame Empire, he discovered that there were a few immortals hiding in the mortal world. Moreover, a large number of soldiers and local tyrants were investigating the unfamiliar faces that entered Flying Sky City recently. Xiao Han already had an answer in his heart. A month ago, Heaven Emperor and the other immortals scanned me with their immortal senses but found nothing. Now they've increased the intensity of their investigation and mobilized the mortals to look for this unfamiliar face of mine. Interesting. Inexplicably, Xiao Han's blood surged with excitement, especially from the demon the arch left arm palm. Waves of throbbing reached Xiao Han's soul. It was a bloodthirsty throbbing. It seemed that the demon the arch left arm palm had tasted the sweetness of refining an immortal's corpse. Now it desired to devour another immortal. It doesn't matter. I'll find a place to stay first and then slowly deal with Heaven Emperor and the others. Although their investigation is very tight, they definitely won't be able to find me in a short period of time. Xiao Han led his horse and found a pagoda-shaped inn by the roadside. While he was handling the check-in procedures, the innkeeper kept staring at Xiao Han. Obviously, Xiao Han's unfamiliar face had attracted the innkeeper's attention. Moreover, Xiao Han's appearance and temperament were too rough and eye-catching. "Sir, may I know where you're coming from? Where are you going?" Finally, the innkeeper could not help but ask. "If you want to stay, then stay. Why do you have so much nonsense to ask? Xiao Han purposely shouted in a hoarse voice. The innkeeper was so scared that he trembled and did not dare to ask any more questions. After Xiao Han checked into the room, the innkeeper hurriedly called a few waiters over and whispered to them. The guest who just checked in is very unfamiliar. I'm not sure if he's the stranger that those soldiers are looking for. But from the looks of his fierce face, he looks very much like a criminal. Listen up, quickly go and report to the city defense army. The innkeeper said in a low voice. Innkeeper Ma. It can't be so coincidental, right? Our flying sky city is also a large city. The number of people coming and going every day is extremely terrifying. Every day there will be new faces coming from the various countries of the eastern region. Even if someone from the other domains enters Flying Sky City, I think he's just an ordinary customer. It's unlikely that he's the stranger the higher-ups are looking for. A waiter muttered. You know nothing. Regardless of whether he was the person the higher-ups were looking for or not, it was never wrong to report the news. Do you know how much the reward is? Let me tell you, if you're lucky enough to bump into us and get the reward, we won't have to work anymore. Everyone can go back to being rich landlords. Shopkeeper Ma said with stars in his eyes. A few of the waiters eagerly left. Oh, you really went to report? Xiao Han sat in his room. The square table was filled with the most famous delicacies of Flying Sky City. As Xiao Han wolfed down the food, he released his spiritual fluctuations, perfectly controlling the movements of the grass in the surrounding area. Afterward, Xiao Han's spiritual undulations spread out like ripples, quickly and soundlessly enveloping the entire Flying Sky City. What are those immortals doing in this city? Let me see. Xiao Han's main task was to monitor the immortals in the city. His spiritual fluctuations locked onto the aura of the immortals' immortal senses. So, he found the immortals. Among them, there were 4 immortals who were chatting freely in a private room of a restaurant. The leader of these 4 immortals was a young man with a sarcoma on his forehead. This young man was dressed in luxurious clothing. Not only did the sarcoma on his forehead not become an eyesore, but it also gave him a promising temperament. It was very domineering. Xiao Han vaguely remembered this young man. It was the guy who had chased after and captured him along the way with Heaven Emperor. There were 3 immortals sitting below this young man. All of them were male. Xiao Han did not know these 3 immortals. At this moment, the promising young man was talking non-stop. Everyone I Du Longzi have formed an alliance with Big Brother Heaven Emperor. It will be of great benefit for the exploration of immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure in a few years. Think about it, Big Brother Heaven Emperor's prestige in the immortal world. Haha, this time, there are a lot of young immortals who have descended to the various planes of the immortal world, but among them, how many can surpass Big Brother Heaven Emperor? Now I will be the mediator. If everyone joins Big Brother Heaven Emperor, we will be able to take care of each other in the second layer of immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Under Big Brother Heaven Emperor's leadership, everyone will have a high chance of obtaining treasures. It's better than going alone, right? As soon as he said this, the other 3 immortals exchanged glances. Judging from their appearance, they seemed to have no interest in joining Heaven Emperor Ju Dao. Du Longzi I Fei Hizi am used to living like a wild crane. This is how it is in the immortal world. Don't try to persuade me. A young man with a square face shook his head slightly. The other 2 immortals also said in unison. Let's talk about the cooperation this time. Du Longzi, who is Heaven Emperor Ju Dao looking for? He is actually willing to use a favor as a bargaining chip. Moreover, he promised a spot to enter the second layer of immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. One should know that the spots to enter immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure are controlled by the mortal Xiao Han. How could Heaven Emperor Ju Dao make Xiao Han take out the spots and let Heaven Emperor Ju Dao distribute them? Didn't they say that Xiao Han and Jia Lanzi are together? Ha ha ha, you guys still don't know? This time, Big Brother Heaven Emperor Ju Dao is looking for Xiao Han. Du Longzi's eyes turned cold. What? The 3 immortals were shocked. But don't worry, this is just a bet. Although Jia Lanzi and Xiao Han are on good terms, Jia Lanzi will not interfere. So you guys don't have to worry. Du Longzi waved his hand. In short, do your best to find Xiao Han. A favor from Big Brother Heaven Emperor Ju Dao. I don't believe you guys won't be moved. It seems that Xiao Han is in disguise. Otherwise, Heaven Emperor Ju Dao would have found him. He didn't hesitate to use a favor as the price to mobilize us to search for him. Another immortal nodded. Forget it. Since things have come to this, we are all willing to help Heaven Emperor Ju Dao find Xiao Han. However, Xiao Han's concealment method is extremely powerful. In order to blend into the mortal world of this plane, he has to rely on this method to search for unfamiliar faces. Finding Xiao Han is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Flying Sky City. City Lord's mansion. An immortal wore a cloak and a veil that covered his face. He dressed himself mysteriously and stood in the middle of a square with his hands behind his back. In the square there were a few soldiers serving him. In addition, the City Lord of Flying Sky City also stood beside this immortal. In the square there were almost 10,000 men standing. Mr. These are the outsiders that appeared in our Flying Sky City in the past 3 days. They are unfamiliar faces. The City Lord smiled and said to the immortal. The immortal suddenly released his immortal sense and then said with extreme disappointment. Let them leave. Tens of thousands of outsiders left the square. Sir, this is already the 8th wave. It has only been a few days. In the past few days we have checked almost 1 million outsiders, but we still haven't found the person you are looking for? The City Lord was slightly impatient. Don't talk nonsense. I will definitely give you what I promised you. Even if I don't find the target, I will still fulfill my promise. Gold, silver, treasures, pills that can increase one's cultivation, and pills that can increase one's lifespan will all be given to you. Don't be so long-winded and continue to send troops to search the city. The immortal said coldly. Hearing this, the City Lord's spirit was lifted. Good. Mr. Don't worry. The City Defense Army has been mobilized to search the city day and night. After a pause, the City Lord said in a low voice. Mister, is there really a pill that can increase one's lifespan? Ha ha ha. Insignificant fellow. It can increase your lifespan by more than 10 years. What's so great about it? Don't worry, I will keep my word. The immortal said disdainfully. Xiao Han slightly retracted his mental wave. Haven't Emperor Ju made such a big fuss just to find me? Ha ha ha. Xiao Han drank a mouthful of wine and shook his head while laughing. At this moment, outside the room, the atmosphere was foul. Oh, so fast? Xiao Han put down his wine cup. At this moment, bang, bang bang, bang bang bang. There was a violent knock on the door. Then the door opened and a few fierce-looking soldiers swarmed in. The leader of the group glared at Xiao Han, then bared his teeth and said, You stand up. Xiao Han completely ignored these soldiers and continued to drink. Impudent. The soldiers roared when they saw this. Quickly stand up. I think you are new here and this is your first time in Flying Sky City, right? You look unfamiliar. Come with us immediately. Oh? Go with you? Where are we going? Xiao Han said with a faint smile. Of course, to the City Lord's mansion. Ha ha. This is the biggest joke in the world. To the City Lord's mansion? Although this is my first time in Flying Sky City, I have not committed any crimes. You want to directly escort me to the City Lord's mansion? What kind of law is this? Ah. All of you get out of my way. Xiao Han's body did not move. All of a sudden, the cells in his body emitted a slight wave of true energy and shook the air. Bang, 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 bang. These soldiers were directly sent flying. One by one they rolled on the ground like gourds. Flying Sky City. The City Lord's mansion. The mysterious immortal had already left. It was late at night. The City Lord and a few of his trusted subordinates were discussing in the study. City Lord, we have mobilized so many people and searched the entire city for unfamiliar faces. Isn't this inappropriate? An old man with a goatee said worriedly. This will make people panic. Moreover, many foreign merchants will be frightened and will not dare to do business in our Flying Sky City. In the long run, it will be extremely detrimental to the development of our Flying Sky City. It's fine. As long as we can get elixirs that can increase one's lifespan, or even some high-level martial arts skills, all the costs will be worth it. The City Lord's tone was firm and then he sighed. When I was young, I also practiced martial arts. However, my aptitude was too poor and I could not reach the true energy realm. In recent years, my body has been deteriorating and there are obvious signs of aging. I don't want to die like this. I still want to live on. City Lord, we understand your thoughts very well, but those mysterious people, do they really have elixirs that can increase one's lifespan? Those people all have remarkable abilities. I have seen with my own eyes that they can revive withered flowers and trees, and even have the ability to turn stone into gold. They are very powerful. Moreover, according to the information I have received, it is not only our Flying Sky City that is wantonly interrogating strangers. Many empires and cities in the eastern region are doing the same thing. The City Lord said. At this moment, City Lord. A middle-aged burly man in a general's uniform walked directly into the study. This person was the commander of the Flying Sky City's City Defense Army. "General Luo, what's the matter?" the city lord asked hurriedly. "City Lord, my soldiers have been interrogating strangers throughout the city for the past few days. However, just now, in the process of interrogating people, we encountered resistance. An unfamiliar face not only refused to enter the city lord's mansion, but also injured my soldiers. His attitude is extremely bad. I suspect that this person is most likely the wanted criminal of those mysterious people." Chapter 592. What? Something like this actually happened. Hearing the words of the City Defense Army commander, the city lord and his trusted aides jumped up at the same time. Their faces were dyed with shock and anger. One had to know that the Flying City Defense Army had been interrogating outsiders for several days. During this period, the City Defense Army had brought away countless unfamiliar faces and brought them directly to the city lord's residence. They had never met with any resistance. At most, there would be some strangers who would complain a little, but in the end they would obediently cooperate. Even some true energy realm martial artists were no exception. This was because this flying city belonged to the eastern region's powerful Yanhua Empire. And this city lord of Flying City was inextricably linked to some of the most famous martial sects in the Yanhua Empire. As the saying goes, a powerful dragon cannot suppress a local snake. Therefore, even if a true energy realm martial artist arrived at Flying City, they could only cooperate when faced with the investigation. They did not dare to resist, lest they invite trouble upon themselves. This is outrageous. The city lord's trusted aides were all enraged, jumping up and down one by one. "General Luo, please personally lead the City Defense Army elites to capture that stubborn stranger. Capture him. Torture and torture him." Wait. Suddenly the city lord roared. At this moment, the city lord's face was dyed with a look of surprise. "This matter, I'm afraid it's not that simple. It's thought-provoking. It's very thought-provoking." "City Lord, what do you mean?" The trusted aides, as well as the City Defense Army General Luo, all looked at the city lord. "Perhaps, it's the unfamiliar face that those mysterious people are looking for." Endless greed and desire suddenly blossomed in the city lord's eyes. If he doesn't have a guilty conscience, why would he resist? "General Luo, immediately lead the troops to surround the area where the unfamiliar face lives. We must not let him escape. I'll inform those mysterious people now. This is no small matter. Quickly lead the troops and leave." "Oh, this general obeys?" General Luo responded. After a pause, the city lord could not help but ask, "Everyone, could it be that this is a heaven-sent opportunity?" His voice was trembling. "If it's really the target that those mysterious people are looking for, then we're going to make a huge profit. All kinds of gold and silver, precious medicines and immortal pills. All kinds of rare treasures that can only be encountered by luck. Quick, hurry up and control that fellow. Don't let him escape." After Xiao Han forced back the group of aggressive soldiers, Xiao Han turned around. He didn't leave immediately. Instead, he sat in the room leisurely, warmed a pot of wine and savored it carefully. Meanwhile, Xiao Han also released his psychic energy to the fullest. In the inn, the shopkeeper, the waiters, and the others had already blocked the door. "Innkeeper, that customer, there's something fishy about him. He actually injured a few city guards. Could it be that he has a guilty conscience?" The group of waiters were shocked and frightened. Each and every one of them was holding a big stick, a big knife and other weapons in their hands. He was very nervous. "You know nothing. Hurry up and block them. I can't let that guy escape now. Later, General Luo of the city guard will personally come over with his men." The shopkeeper licked his lips and said, "Maybe this is our good fortune." As for the other guests in the inn, they had all closed their doors and windows. But they were also discussing with great curiosity. Soon, knock knock knock. Knock knock knock. Knock knock knock. In all directions the sound of horses' hooves could be heard. Occasionally there were sounds of chickens and dogs jumping, passers-by screaming, and the sound of doors and windows closing. The bustling night of Feitian City actually gave birth to a sense of chaos and chaos. All these changes were completely grasped by Xiao Han. Xiao Han's psychic energy fluctuated. He easily sensed that at this moment in the area where he lived, there were already tens of thousands of soldiers, driving ferocious beasts from all directions. They surrounded him so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. However, these soldiers didn't rush to capture Xiao Han immediately. Instead, they blocked the entrance one by one as if they were waiting for something. Chirp, chirp, chirp. In the sky, huge warhawks were circling. On the backs of some warhawks, sitting on them were sharp-eyed archers. Furthermore, there were even some true energy realm martial artists who had blocked the throat of some of the soldiers. The atmosphere became oppressive. They must be waiting for those immortals to come. Those immortals have received the information and are now going to interrogate me personally. Xiao Han was fully aware of the situation. On a lone peak outside the city lord's mansion, the mysterious cloaked immortal, Du Longzi, and 3 other immortals lived in a courtyard on this lone peak. At this moment, the city lord had already arrived on horseback. "Everyone, I found some clues." The city lord dismounted from his horse and shouted. "Tonight, as usual, we were searching for unfamiliar faces in the city, but we were met with resistance from a stranger. This stranger even directly injured a few city defense army soldiers." Oh! The expressions of Du Longzi and the other immortals immediately became tense. "Good, city lord, you are very responsible. Now, leave this matter to us, you don't have to worry about it." Du Longzi's voice was slightly trembling. "If it's really the person we are looking for, then the reward that we promised you will not be reduced. Moreover, we will double the reward." Yes, thank you everyone," the city lord hurriedly said. After that, the city lord led his entourage away from the lone peak. "A suspicious person has appeared. Let's go there immediately." Du Longzi's eyes flickered. "Should we inform Brother Tsangtian about this first?" the celestial in a cloak asked. "No need," Du Longzi waved his hand. "We will go there directly. It's just a suspicious person, we haven't been able to confirm it yet. If we hastily inform Brother Heaven's Son and find out that the suspicious person is not Xiao Han, then we will inevitably be punished by Brother Heaven's Son. Moreover, if it's really Xiao Han, we will capture him first and then bring him to Brother Heaven's Son to claim credit. I believe that Brother Heaven's Son will definitely reward us handsomely. That's the best." "Alright, Du Longzi. You have always been smarter than others. We will listen to you." The cloaked immortal nodded. Du Longzi said to the other immortals, "Do you guys want to follow us? If it's really Xiao Han, then we will also share some of the credit with you." The 3 immortals exchanged glances and then said in unison, "Then we will go as well. We will hold the line for the 2 of you." "Let's go now," Du Longzi gave the order. A total of 5 immortals turned into streams of light and directly flew toward Xiao Han's residence. In the room where Xiao Han was, Xiao Han scanned with his mental energy. Xiao Han also instantly caught a few waves of immortal consciousness that were approaching from afar. It was as if they were teleporting. There are a total of 5 waves of immortal consciousness. 2 of them contain deep killing intent, while the other 3 are faint and unremarkable. 5 immortals. Xiao Han observed while formulating a plan to deal with these immortals. One must know. The reason why Xiao Han deliberately stayed here was to wait for these immortals to arrive. Then to confront them head-on. Xiao Han had already made up his mind. He would no longer hide his head and show his tail. When necessary, he would also give these immortals who schemed to kill him some revenge. Of course, this did not mean that Xiao Han would fight these immortals recklessly. Instead, he would seize the opportunity to take a bite out of them. This time, it was obvious that Xiao Han had purposely revealed some flaws to attract these immortals to come to him. Then he would formulate a counterattack plan against them. Just as this thought flashed through Xiao Han's mind, the door opened on its own. 5 waves of immortal chi rushed in. Here they come. 5 immortals came at the same time. With Du Longzi as the leader, the 5 immortals were like ghosts. They flashed into Xiao Han's room. Xiao Han. As soon as he entered the room, Du Longzi's eyes were aggressive. He stared at Xiao Han like a wolf or a leopard. He bared his teeth. He shouted Xiao Han's name. At the same time, whoosh, 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 5 waves of immortal consciousness locked onto Xiao Han at the same time. Each wave of immortal consciousness was like a bone-scraping steel knife, scraping Xiao Han's body back and forth. These immortals had been looking for Xiao Han for more than a month, but to no avail. They had originally thought that it would be a piece of cake to find a mortal. However, when it came to searching for him, they had no idea where to start. This made them extremely sullen, and they became more and more agitated. Now that they had some clues, they were inexplicably excited. As for Xiao Han, he had deliberately distorted his soul wave. Moreover, he had used his true chi to distort his facial features. Coupled with his big beard, these immortals would not be able to recognize him even if they were face to face. "Oh, Xiao Han? What Xiao Han?" Xiao Han looked at Du Longzi and the others blankly. What are you talking about? Who are you? What? At this moment, Du Longzi and the other immortals used their immortal consciousness to scan and discovered that the bearded man in front of them was not Xiao Han at all. His soul wave and life aura did not match at all. Du Longzi is not Xiao Han at all. I've already scanned him with my immortal consciousness. Now that we're face to face and I'm using my immortal consciousness to analyze this person's soul wave frequency, it does not match the characteristics of Xiao Han's soul at all. We've got the wrong person. The immortal in the cloak transmitted his voice to Du Longzi with extreme disappointment. In fact, the moment Du Longzi came in, he knew that he had found the wrong person. He had been happy for nothing. Idiot. Du Longzi was flustered and exasperated. Why did you refuse to enter the city lord's mansion? However, at this moment, Du Longzi was no longer in the mood to understand who this bearded man was and why he had injured the city defense army of Flying Sky City. Suddenly, a cold and crazy murderous aura exploded from Du Longzi's body. Just this aura alone seemed to be able to devour Xiao Han. Puny mortal, I'll kill you. Du Longzi, don't be rash. The immortal in the cloak quickly advised. He's just an ant. If you want to vent your anger, you don't have to kill him. This time we've made a bet with Xiao Han. You're not allowed to kill mortals at will. Du Longzi, you'd better bear with it. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences if you ruin Brother Tsangtian's plans. Ant, be careful. Du Longzi indeed did not dare to kill indiscriminately in the mortal world. He glared at Xiao Han coldly and then led the immortals away. Soon, the soldiers surrounding the area and the war eagles in the sky retreated like the tide. Xiao Han smiled and then left the inn, riding his horse and galloping away. Soon he was out of Flying Sky City. At the same time, on the lone peak where Du Longzi and the other immortals were staying. That guy actually left Flying Sky City overnight. Du Longzi suddenly said. Huh. The immortal in the cloak was slightly stunned. I've been monitoring that ant with my immortal sense. The moment we left Flying Sky City, he immediately left overnight as well. There's something fishy going on. Du Longzi's eyes flickered. Suddenly escaping in the middle of the night. That doesn't make sense. Forget it, Du Longzi. He probably committed some other crime. After being interrogated by us, he felt guilty and was afraid of being exposed, so he fled overnight, the immortal in the cloak consoled. Anyway, that person isn't Xiao Han. Whether he stays or leaves has nothing to do with us. He's just an ant. No, I have to keep an eye on him. Du Longzi insisted. I have a feeling that things aren't that simple. Du Longzi, don't be rash. If you kill mortals recklessly, it might affect the bet between Brother Tsangtian and Xiao Han. The immortal in the cloak scolded. I know what I'm doing. After saying that, Du Longzi's body moved and disappeared without a trace. Dang dang dang. Xiao Han galloped away on his horse. Suddenly, Xiao Han's lips curled into a cold smile and said indifferently. He really followed us. Only one immortal followed us. Good, very good. Chapter 593. Xiao Han purposely pretended to have a guilty conscience and left Flying Sky City in the middle of the night. As expected, he attracted the attention of an immortal. Du Longzi. Drip, 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 drip. After leaving Flying Sky City, the horse crossed countless cities of different sizes and headed towards the border of the eastern domain. Xiao Han sat on the back of his horse, his mental energy fluctuating. He was paying attention to Du Longzi's movements at all times. Moreover, Xiao Han was full of confidence that he could kill Du Longzi. Only one immortal is chasing after me. This is really good news for me. Even the heavens are helping me. Xiao Han's heart was completely stirred up. It was as if he was rubbing his palms together. If there were several immortals chasing after him, Xiao Han would have to think twice and perhaps he would not make a move. However, Du Longzi single-handedly created an opportunity for Xiao Han. Moreover, Xiao Han did not feel the slightest bit of guilt for hunting down these rude and unreasonable immortals. On the contrary, Xiao Han believed that these unscrupulous immortals led by Heaven Emperor were a nest of snakes and rats that did whatever they wanted in the mortal world. Therefore they should be punished. However, Xiao Han was not in a hurry to make a move. This eastern domain was under the control of Heaven Emperor. If something went wrong, Xiao Han might be captured and killed by Heaven Emperor. Therefore, even if he wanted to kill Du Longzi, he would have to wait until he left the eastern domain. In the sky, a faint immortal aura swept past like a rainbow piercing through the sun. Du Longzi's body was wrapped in an immortal aura. His hands were behind his back and his eyes were filled with disdain and murderous intent. He actually escaped in the middle of the night. Judging from his escape route, it's very likely that he directly escaped from the Eastern Domain. How strange. Why do I keep feeling that there's a subtle connection between this guy and Xiao Han? Of course, it's very likely that my feeling is wrong. This guy's soul frequency is completely different from Xiao Han's. People can disguise their appearance, but their soul aura are very difficult to disguise. But it's fine. I'll follow him for a while first. Then, when I reach a remote place, I'll directly capture him and force him to confess before killing him. After saying that, Du Longzi raised his head and looked at the distant horizon. Fear could be seen in the depths of his eyes as he muttered. With Big Brother Tsangtian guarding the eastern region, it's inconvenient for me to bully that mortal. Forget it, I'll follow this mortal and leave the eastern region first. That was all. Xiao Han rode his horse on land while Du Longzi followed him closely in the sky. One man and one immortal, each with their own ulterior motives. The competition began. Xiao Han traveled all the way until noon the next day. Finally, he settled down in a city in the eastern region to rest. Night. Xiao Han soaked in the wooden tub, holding a pot of fine wine in his hand, leisurely enjoying himself. In the courtyard, the shadows of flowers were scattered, and a faint fragrance floated in the air. The bright moon hung high in the night sky. The atmosphere was extremely wonderful. Sigh. This is so comfortable. Xiao Han stretched his body. I reckon that it won't be long before I can leave the eastern region and reach the bitter cold western region. Du Longzi is still biding his time. It seems that he also has some concerns and doesn't dare to make a move on me in the eastern region. That's fine, us brothers, let's just wait like this. Anyways, the bet with Tsangtianzi and the other immortals is delayed for a day, the possibility of them losing increases. Once we leave the eastern region, we'll plan to kill this immortal. Du Longzi, in an inn not far from where Xiao Han was staying, Du Longzi was drinking alone. His eyes were filled with a sinister look. Little ant, you actually stopped and didn't continue on your journey. Instead, you're enjoying yourself. Damn it. However, you can only enjoy yourself for this period of time. Once we leave the eastern region, regardless of whether you're related to Xiao Han or not, I'll kill you. That will make up for the time I spent tracking you. As a high and mighty immortal, Du Longzi had never spent so much time chasing after a mortal. At this moment, his heart was already restless and his patience was completely worn out. He wanted to capture Xiao Han immediately and torture him to death. However, in the eastern domain he didn't dare to make a move. He was afraid that if the Heaven Emperor found out, he would be punished directly. Du Longzi endured and endured. The killing intent in his heart toward Xiao Han had been brewed to the limit. Xiao Han was not in a hurry. After resting for 3 days and 3 nights, Xiao Han finally set off again. He wanted to leave the eastern region and head towards the western region. After changing to a faster horse, Xiao Han once again set off on his journey. Du Longzi angrily followed behind him. These few days Xiao Han was leisurely and carefree, but Du Longzi was extremely bored. In fact, Tsangtianzi even sent a message to Du Longzi and reprimanded him, telling him to quickly give up on tracking an insignificant mortal and seize the time to search for Xiao Han's whereabouts. However, the arrow was already knocked. Du Longzi had been following Xiao Han for so many days. If he suddenly gave up, it would feel like all his previous efforts were wasted. Damn it! This guy, hurry up and leave the eastern region. Du Longzi's killing intent was overflowing. Another half a month passed, and Xiao Han finally left the eastern territory. He had officially arrived at the western region. The western region was filled with sand and wind. This was a small town that was adjacent to the eastern region. The sand and stone walls in the town had been corroded by the wind and frost over the years. There were probably a few thousand people in the town. All of them were wrapped in thick linen clothes and their faces were covered. Some children squatted at the corner of the wall and looked around with their black eyes. Clatter, 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 Xiao Han led the horse and walked slowly in the town. His mental strength spread out. Outside the town, there was a vast expanse of yellow sand within a radius of a few thousand miles. There was no sign of human habitation. As for Du Longzi, he had already quietly followed Xiao Han into the small town. Xiao Han could feel that the killing intent in Du Longzi's immortal sense was getting stronger and stronger. It was getting more and more obvious. Obviously, Du Longzi was ready to make a move at any time. Moreover, Xiao Han was also keenly aware that once he left the eastern region, the immortal sense of Emperor Heaven would disappear without a trace and no longer cover. Instead, There were dozens of other immortal sense waves that spread out in the sky above the western region. Among the immortals who were enemies with Xiao Han, the one he was most afraid of was Emperor Heaven. The other immortals. Xiao Han was not afraid at all. Xiao Han took a few sesame seed cakes from the skinny hands of an old woman in a stall and left some gold and silver for her. Then he slowly walked towards the desert outside the town. While walking, Xiao Han was also adjusting the state of his immortal body. He gathered his strength and prepared to fight. Xiao Han knew. Once he entered the desert, Du Longzi would descend from the sky and capture him. This Du Longzi has been following me for so many days and his killing intent has been aroused. Once he confronts me, he will definitely kill me. However, I have been waiting for so many days to kill this guy. Gradually, Xiao Han's heart was also brewing with some killing intent. The small flame of the killing intent was in the depths of Xiao Han's heart. The more it burned, the more vigorous it became. When he was about to walk out of the town, Xiao Han had already adjusted his combat state to the best. His immortal body was extremely condensed. The natal true chi talisman absorbed all the true chi in his body and was ready to be activated. The demon emperor's palm on his left arm. It was faintly throbbing. Hey Aunt, you can't escape from my palm in the end. You made me painstakingly follow you for so many days. Let me think about how to humiliate and torture you later. Du Longzi was like a ghost, following behind Xiao Han. He used an immortal technique and his body was almost invisible, so that the troubled citizens in the town could not detect his existence. Moreover, Du Longzi also thought that Xiao Han could not detect him. However, he never thought that his every move was under Xiao Han's perfect control. Whether he was tangible or intangible, Xiao Han's spiritual fluctuations could accurately lock onto the frequency of his immortal sense. Finally, Xiao Han left the town. Walking in the desert. It's time. Du Longzi's eyes were very cold. In this bitter and cold place, killing a mortal will not be noticed, and it will not affect the bet between Big Brother Heaven's Son and Xiao Han. Kill. Mountain range hall Jiao Lanzi, Wu Li, and the others were extremely worried about Xiao Han. At this moment they were also whispering to each other and discussing. Brother Jiao Lanzi, Xiao Han has been gone for more than a month. I don't know the situation between him and Heaven's Son. Wu Li said with a face full of worry. In fact, Jiao Lanzi had also been releasing his immortal sense outside, closely watching every movement in this plane. Up until now it is still in a calm state. Jiao Lanzi said. Heaven's Son is in charge of the eastern domain, and the immortals under him are in the western domain, northern domain, southern domain, great wilderness and devil hero domain. They are constantly using their immortal sense to scan and search day and night, digging 3 feet into the ground. They swear to catch Brother Xiao. However, Brother Xiao seems to have disappeared from this plane. Jiao Lanzi paused for a moment and said with a frown. According to Brother Xiao's temperament, he will not hide forever. He will definitely wait for an opportunity to take revenge. The current situation seems calm, but I have a feeling that explosive news will soon spread. Xiao Han was walking in the desert. At this moment, boom! The sky was filled with yellow sand. Immortal chi was faintly discernible. In the sky and on the ground, immortal music resounded. Du Longzi was bathed in the immortal chi auspicious clouds. His whole body was clean and spotless. He slowly walked out from the crack in the space. His eyes were extremely cold, and his immortal sense locked onto Xiao Han. Aunt, we meet again. Xiao Han pretended to be surprised. At this moment, although Xiao Han had adjusted his battle state to its peak and his heart was filled with killing intent, he could not fight Du Longzi head-on. Xiao Han had to pretend. In fact, Xiao Han's biggest advantage was that the enemy immortals, including Sun Tsang, did not know that he had forged an immortal body and could fight against immortals. Xiao Han had made up his mind to kill Du Longzi with a sneak attack when he was caught off guard. Moreover, there were other immortals under Sun Tsang's command monitoring the entire western regions. Xiao Han had to think of an escape route. After killing Du Longzi, he would instantly escape. Therefore at this moment Xiao Han pretended to be panicking, but his eyes were brewing many schemes. Who are you? Why did you chase me here? I don't even know you. Xiao Han said with righteous indignation. Ha ha ha. Du Longzi let out a hearty laugh. Mortal, the expression on your face is really interesting. Is this the collapse before death? Ah. The laughter was as if Du Longzi had vented out all the grievances he had suffered in the past few days. It was extremely comfortable. What are you trying to do? Xiao Han asked in a terrified manner. I want to kill you. Du Longzi kept on laughing. I have no enmity with you. We don't know each other. You want to kill me? Why do you want to kill me? Xiao Han roared. Do I need a reason to kill you? Du Longzi said indifferently. Chapter 594. Do I need a reason to kill you? When Du Longzi said this sentence, it was completely understated, as if he regarded human life as grass and it was natural. Xiao Han became more and more furious in his heart, but on the surface he still looked like a yes man, trembling as he spoke. You are too overbearing. Are you a demon hero from the demon hero region? Below the immortals are the demon heroes, below the demon heroes are all living beings. Even if you are a demon hero, you can't treat human life like grass. Ha ha ha. Du Longzi looked up to the sky and laughed loudly as if he had heard the world's biggest joke. Immortals? Demon hero? Ah. Communicating with a lowly ant like you is like talking to a chicken talking to a duck. Forget it. Before I die, I will ask you one last time. Are you related to that Xiao Han? Xiao Han? The leader of our realm. How dare you? How dare you call him by his name? Xiao Han pretended to be angry. You are a hooligan. I am thinking too much. Du Longzi suddenly burst out murderous aura, his gaze pierced through the void, and his right hand grabbed toward Xiao Han. At the same time, in the void of the western region, a few immortals sat cross-legged on a cloud. These immortals had faint tiredness on their faces. We've been searching the western region for more than a month. We've been using our immortal perception to cover the vast territory of the western region at all times. We've scanned almost all the natives of the western region, especially the people who come and go. However, we still haven't found any trace of Xiao Han. Could it be that we're going to lose the bet to a mortal this time? This is a great humiliation. An immortal looked indignant. Once we lose this bet, we will lose the qualification to enter the second level of the Great Blade Immortal Emperor's treasure. So, if we return to the immortal realm like this, we will be severely punished. Forget it, let's not talk about this bet first. There are still a few months before the end of the bet, we still have a high chance of finding Xiao Han. It's too early to admit defeat now. It's too early, said another immortal. However, he managed to squeeze out a smile. Look at that guy Du Longzi. Isn't he guarding the eastern region with big brother Tsang Tianzi, searching for Xiao Han's whereabouts in the eastern region? But now they were thousands of miles away, coming to the western region. What is Du Longzi trying to do? The immortals scanned with their immortal senses at the same time. Then they all shook their heads and laughed. Ha ha, so you were chasing after a mortal. From the eastern domain to the western domain. This guy is really ridiculous. However, Du Longzi is too bold to do this. Back then when he made a bet with Han Xiao, we all agreed to it. During this half a year he could not casually kill mortals, and Du Longzi's actions were breaking the rules of the bet. If Zhao Lanzi knows about this, it will be troublesome. Why don't we stop Du Longzi? I don't think it's necessary. It's just killing an insignificant mortal in this barren desert. What's there to stop? It's not a large-scale massacre of mortals. Let Du Longzi kill him. As long as he is clean, he can directly kill that mortal, and Zhao Lanzi won't be able to find anything. Haha, it's too late to stop now. Du Longzi is about to make his move. That mortal will die in a blink of an eye. Ant, I'll crush you to death. Du Longzi directly grabbed Xiao Han with his right hand. With this grab, the immortal qi and the space crystal wall were torn apart like a thin piece of paper. The solid spiritual star in Xiao Han's sea of consciousness was highly condensed and contracted, causing Du Longzi's attack to become extremely slow in Xiao Han's eyes. Xiao Han only saw that this casual grab was blooming with dense immortal words. Countless immortal words were arranged, forming a killing technique. The arrangement of these immortal words was very mysterious, far from what a mortal's true qi martial Tao could compare to. However, although this grab was very fierce and overbearing, Xiao Han's spiritual power was too strong, and he could completely predict the trajectory of this attack. If he wanted to dodge, Xiao Han could definitely dodge this attack. However, Xiao Han had no intention of dodging at all. Instead, his face was filled with fear, and he pretended to be helpless and unable to dodge. For this attack, Du Longzi did not activate any magical treasure, nor did he use any immortal technique. He just casually grabbed. That's right, he thinks that I'm just an insignificant mortal, so to kill me he just needs to move slightly. There is no need for him to use any technique. I have a dual attribute special immortal body, and my physical attack and defense are both at level 4 ordinary immortal body. This attack on my body is like a tickle. Xiaohan's body subconsciously moved forward. Ha! Die. Mortal, this grab will cut open your stomach and dig out your heart. Du Longzi looked as if he had completely defeated Xiaohan, and his face was full of arrogance. He was very confident that in the mortal world, no mortal would be able to dodge this attack. Any mortal would be reduced to ashes under this attack. In the blink of an eye. Pooh! This attack directly grabbed Xiaohan's chest. Die. However, just as the attack succeeded, Du Longzi realized that something was wrong. He felt that what he grabbed was not a mortal's body, but a starry sky, a world and an abyss. The immortal power that this grab carried was like a clay ox entering the sea without any trace. In an instant Du Longzi was shocked to the core. His eyes popped out and he stared at Xiaohan as if he had seen a ghost. You are, shockingly. Bang! Xiaohan did not wait for Du Longzi to finish speaking. While Du Longzi was completely shocked, Xiaohan's right fist contained the violent power of the immortal body and directly smashed into Du Longzi's face. Puchi! Du Longzi's entire face was completely caved in, his teeth burst, his straight nose was smashed into a pile of mud, and his 2 eyeballs directly popped out. Bang! 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 Xiaohan did not say a word and punched 3 times in a row. Each punch hit the flesh and all hit Du Longzi's body. 3 loud noises. It was earth-shattering. A large piece of desert was hit until the yellow sand was swept up, covering the sky and the sun. Under the pure power of Xiaohan's close to 40 immortal dragons, Du Longzi's immortal body. It exploded like a broken tile. 1 punch and it exploded. The immortal body fragments filled the sky. It was indescribably beautiful and gorgeous. At the critical moment, Xiaohan's spirit power wrapped around all the immortal body fragments. They were all kept in the storage ring. Then his mind flashed and his left arm flashed with a demonic light. With a movement like an illusion he directly flew out. He teleported who knows how many tens of thousands of miles. All of this happened too suddenly. From the beginning of Du Longzi's attack on Xiaohan, Xiaohan did not dodge. Instead he took the blow head-on, causing Du Longzi to completely lower his guard, thinking that Xiaohan would definitely die. But in the blink of an eye there was a sudden change. Not only did Xiaohan not die, but he also punched a few times. After blowing up Du Longzi, he made a prompt decision to activate a wisp of demonic aura and directly escaped. These few times Xiaohan had planned and then acted. All of his actions were done in one breath like a rabbit jumping up and down. It was simply impossible to guard against. Above the clouds above the western region, a group of immortals was still laughing and chatting. Du Longzi's breadth of mind is really, no matter what, he is an outstanding figure among the younger generation of our immortal world. Now, in order to chase a mortal, he actually moved from the eastern region to the western region. Moreover, he really did make a move on this mortal. An immortal shook his head and laughed. Is it very interesting to step on an ant? Ah, GA. Suddenly, this immortal's laughter came to an abrupt stop. At the same time, the other immortals' mouths opened wide and their eyes bulged, as if they had seen a ghost. The next moment, what? Du Longzi was counter-killed. Du Longzi was actually killed by that mortal. Du Longzi's life force suddenly disappeared. Dead. He was directly blown up. Not even his bones are left. Roar? Definitely not an ordinary mortal. Catch him. We must catch him. Suddenly, these immortals grabbed out huge hands that covered the sky and grabbed towards Xiaohan's location. However, Xiaohan had already escaped without a trace. These immortals completely did not expect that things would end like this. They thought that Du Longzi killing a mortal would be a piece of cake, so their attention was not placed on Du Longzi and Xiaohan. Then when Du Longzi was killed they were temporarily shocked and their minds went blank. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xiaohan had already flown far away. Immediately report to Big Brother Tsang Tianzi. These immortals all roared. I have recorded that mortal's soul aura. Now I will transmit his soul aura fluctuation frequency to the other immortals, and let them directly kill this person. No, catch him alive. A white-robed immortal hurriedly said, and then his body turned into a ray of sword energy and shot towards the eastern region. I will go find Big Brother Tsang Tianzi now. This matter is very important. Everyone split up and chase that guy. Eastern region. Haichang Empire's airspace. On the leisurely floating clouds. Son of Heaven sat cross-legged on the clouds. In front of him was a tea table, and two beautiful female immortals were eagerly making tea for Son of Heaven. That idiot Du Longzi actually left for such a long time just to chase an ant. This person will have no future in the future, Son of Heaven said indifferently. Then he took a cup of tea from a female immortal and carefully sipped the tea. At this moment, Big Brother Tsang Tianzi, the white-robed immortal, dared to come from the western region, and his face was full of fear. Big Brother Tsang Tianzi, this is not good. Bai Yunzi? Aren't you in charge of guarding the western region? Why did you come to the eastern region? Son of Heaven said with slight dissatisfaction. Big Brother Tsang Tianzi, dead. Du Longzi is dead. Bai Yunzi said with a long face. He was directly killed by a mortal. Du Longzi is dead. What? Son of Heaven suddenly stood up. Pooh! Son of Heaven crushed the teacup in his hand. Chapter 595. Swoosh! A faint demonic light flashed across the sky. Xiao Han's movements were illusory, and he had already reached perfection. This illusory movement was originally the natal demonic technique of an ordinary demon emperor. Xiao Han had obtained it, and it was Xiao Han's first life-saving secret skill. Watermark advertisement test. Since the watermark advertisement test, Xiao Han's left demon emperor palm had evolved to a terrifying level, surpassing any mortal demon emperor level creature. Therefore, when Xiao Han used this illusory demonic technique, it was no longer the same as before. In an instant, Xiao Han teleported from the west region to the north region. North region. A world of ice and snow. The demonic light passed through the endless frost and landed directly in a city in the north region. In the city there was no ice and snow. Some experts in the true energy realm used their true energy to create a warm light, bathing the entire city in a golden color, like heaven on earth. The city was also prosperous and people were shuttling back and forth. Boom! Xiao Han landed on a beautiful green mountain in the city. After landing, the first thing that Xiao Han did was, he changed the frequency of his soul waves. Buzz, 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 the solid spiritual power star wriggled and twisted a few times, changing the frequency of his soul waves again. Before this, after the distortion of Xiao Han's soul waves, Xiao Han's temperament was extremely rough and vulgar, making him seem like a fiendish boorish man. At this moment, Xiao Han's soul temperament became extremely gentle and elegant. He was gentle and had the temperament of a scholarly family. Ha ha ha, Xiao Han laughed loudly. His true energy burned, and the beard on his face completely melted. Completely melted. It revealed a fair, young and handsome face. Then he twisted his facial muscles. As a result, his appearance was slightly different from his original appearance. Moreover, then he activated his true energy and the color of his skin became even fairer. With a shake of his body, Xiao Han transformed from a boorish man into a well-educated and well-mannered scholar. Just as Xiao Han finished his disguise in the sky, several sharp immortal senses swept down. It swept down and swept past the area where Xiao Han was. However, when these immortal senses swept across Xiao Han's body, he didn't stop at all. Clearly he didn't discover anything. Fortunately I changed my appearance in time. These immortals are also very fast. They've gone from the western region to the northern region in such a short time. Xiao Han stretched himself lazily and then swaggered down the mountain, heading towards the most prosperous area of the city. As he walked, Xiao Han's mind kept flashing. Awesome. Felt so good. Yet another immortal was killed. 3 punches and 2 kicks and he was smashed into pieces. Back then, when he defeated the Divine Sword Sun, he was an immortal whose rank had already fallen. He was like a stray dog and was nothing special. However, Du Longzi was an immortal in his prime. Just a moment ago he was acting all high and mighty and the next moment he was smashed into pieces by me. Of course I caught him off guard, but no matter what method I used I still completed the immortal slaying. Heaven's Son, you've been searching for my whereabouts all over the world. I want you to go for wool and come home shorn. Du Longzi is only the first. Next, there will be more immortals from Heaven's Son's camp falling in my hands. I want all of you to be in a state of panic. I want all of you to collapse. Soon Xiao Han arrived at the crowded main city area. He randomly found a restaurant and tasted the unique delicacies of the northern region. While eating and drinking, Xiao Han was also appreciating the beauties of the northern region who passed by on the street. Their exotic charm was a feast for Xiao Han. Eastern region. The airspace of Haichang Empire. At this moment, Other than Heaven's Son and the white-robed immortal Bai Yunzi who came to report the news, more than 10 immortals had gathered. With Heaven's Son as the leader, these immortals' faces were extremely distorted and ferocious. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. What did you say? Du Longzi was killed by a mortal? Suddenly Heaven's Son burst into a furious roar. Suddenly he grabbed Bai Yunzi across the air and grabbed him by the neck as if he was grabbing a little chick. Ha 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 ha. Bai Yunzi's throat emitted a strange sound. The expression on his face was extremely frightened as he choked and struggled to speak. Big Heaven's Son. Big brother Heaven's Son. It's none of my business. Indeed, Du Longzi was killed by a mortal. Big brother Heaven's Son, please calm down. The immortals at the side exclaimed. They were afraid that Heaven's Son would kill Bai Yunzi in a fit of rage. Du Longzi was killed in the western region. You guys guarding the western regions actually watched Du Longzi get killed in front of your eyes. All of you are trash. Heaven's Son roared furiously. However, he also let go of Bai Yunzi and threw him to the side. Big brother Heaven's Son. That mortal looked ordinary. At that time, we all thought that Du Longzi would be able to kill him easily. But we didn't expect that there would be such a huge change in the blink of an eye. That guy took on Du Longzi's attack head-on and instantly killed Du Longzi. His speed was so fast that even Du Longzi couldn't react in time. Clearly that guy had deliberately planned to kill Du Longzi. Everything had been carefully calculated. Bai Yunzi screamed in fear. Fear also appeared in his eyes. This fear was not towards Heaven's Son, but towards the method that Xiao Han used to kill Du Longzi. That guy must have prepared beforehand to take on Du Longzi's attack. Then, when Du Longzi thought that he was dead, he suddenly attacked and killed Du Longzi in one fell swoop. This method caught us immortals who guard the western region off guard. At this moment, the immortal wearing a cloak who followed Du Longzi to search for Xiao Han quickly said, Big brother Heaven's Son, I've seen the mortal who killed Du Longzi before and used my celestial sense to check on him. He's just an ordinary guy. I didn't expect that he would purposely reveal a flaw so that Du Longzi would track him down. After leaving the eastern region, he suddenly attacked, killing Du Longzi while he was unprepared. This person's thoughts were extremely cautious. Plus, he should have known that Du Longzi was an immortal beforehand. He even dared to kill an immortal. Then his identity. It's Xiao Han. It must be Xiao Han. Heaven's Son said furiously. Hiding his identity, purposely revealing a flaw to find a chance to kill an immortal. What a good method. Xiao Han. I've always underestimated you. You're amazing. At this moment Heaven's Son's body trembled due to anger. His eyes were spewing out indescribable killing intent and hatred. Killing Du Longzi. Is he trying to show off his power? How dare a puny mortal kill us immortals? This is a provocation. Big brother Heaven's Son. We have to capture that bastard at all costs. The immortals barked. Big brother Heaven's Son, the immortals guarding the western region have recorded the frequency of Xiao Han's soul fluctuation and passed it to the immortals guarding the other regions. We've already started to capture him. Bai Yunzi immediately shouted. Mobilize all the immortals that have descended. Let's find Xiao Han together. Heaven's Son roared. Xiao Han. I'll definitely tear you into pieces. As soon as his voice fell, boom, 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 above the airspace of the Haichang Empire, thunder and lightning suddenly roared, and then a heavy rain poured down. In the next few months this heavy rain would not stop. Haichang Empire would suffer an unprecedented flood. When an immortal was angry the weather would change drastically. **** mountain range. **** temple. Jialanzi, who was sitting and chatting with Wu Li and the others, suddenly trembled. His tranquil and carefree face, that of an otherworldly expert, immediately twisted. His eyes were filled with horror. Wu Li and the others had never seen Jialanzi, who was as steady as a mountain, lose his composure. They were extremely frightened. Brother Jialanzi, what happened? Could it be that something happened to Xiao Han? He was captured by Heaven's Son and the other evil immortals? Wu Li also stood up with a face full of speculation and uneasiness. No, it's Brother Xiao who has begun to fight back. Jialanzi said as if he was intoxicated. Brother Xiao is fighting back. He killed an immortal in the western region. Instantly killed. This method is too fierce. Decisive in killing. What? Xiao Han killed an immortal? Wu Li, Xiao Mingqiu, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling cried out in unison. Under the dangerous situation of being coveted by a group of immortals, he still dared to show up and launch a peerless counterattack. Brother Zhao's actions have convinced me, deeply convinced. This method can be called heaven-defying. The expression on Zhao Lanzi's face was completely convinced. However, Xiao Han killed an immortal and is in an extremely dangerous situation. Will he be captured by Heaven's Son and the others because of this? Wu Li immediately said. It's very strange. After Brother Xiao killed an immortal, he seemed to have used a demonic technique and directly teleported away. Now I have lost contact with Brother Xiao again. It seems that Brother Zhao's soul temperament has changed again. Zhao Lanzi said. Yes. Xiao Mingchu slapped his thigh. Junior Brother Xiao Han is best at a few demonic techniques to save his life. Among them, there is a demonic technique that can travel thousands of miles in an instant. It is called illusory movement. It seems that the one who killed the immortal is indeed Junior Brother Xiao Han. Northern Region. Night. Xiao Han sat cross-legged on the bed of a suite in the inn. Boom, boom, boom. The fragments of Du Longzi's immortal body had already been thrown by Xiao Han into the palm of the demon sovereign left arm and frantically refined. The spirit turtle True Qi sealed the left arm, causing the momentum of refining the immortal body to be perfectly concealed. Even if those immortals used their immortal sense to scan through the air, they would not be able to find any flaws. Unless there was an immortal in direct contact with Xiao Han, they would not be able to see the energy fluctuation of Xiao Han's left arm. As the immortal body was completely refined and absorbed, the demon veins in the palm of the demon sovereign left arm once again frantically awakened and expanded the capacity of the demon veins. Evolution, evolution, and evolution. However, Xiao Han's state of mind was as calm as still water. He knew that Heaven's Son and the other immortals were now speeding up their search for him. However, he was unfazed and only cared about refining Du Longzi's immortal body. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.